You're watching the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Now it's time for the Brent Austen Show.
Liam Cohen out there on Saturday. Fun day at Jags headquarters as there was some electricity in the air as the Jags and the brass and the players and the rookies and the fans all together for the first time under this new regime. And, of course, not the entire Jags team. The veterans will now mesh in with the rookies here in phase whatever the heck it is this week, and then OTAs next week. That will be kind of that next deal here in Jacksonville. And in between, we've got a schedule release coming out on Wednesday. Already news of the opener between the Eagles and the Cowboys, the defending Super Bowl champs, of course, and the Dallas Cowboys. That was announced today. I'm sure we'll get a continued leak and report up until Wednesday evening, probably around 8 o'clock, I think, is when they release the entire NFL schedule. So always a fun deal. Well, hey, everybody, welcome in on just an awful day in Jacksonville. I mean, holy cow, it's brutal. We knew we were going to pay for it, right? We didn't get rain for like 6 weeks. And now we're getting it every day and then some. So be careful out there driving. And good day to stay inside and hang out with us from 10 to 1 here on the Brent Austen Show on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. We had a fun weekend, by the way. Started off with the Jacksonville Armada on Friday. They got a win 4-1, and we had an Action Sports Jax production. First time we've done that. Not first time we've carried their games, but first time we've done it. So if you didn't get a chance to see it, you'll be able to see it more in the upcoming weeks in the summer. And a good win for the Jacksonville Armada. And then we've got the Sharks back home coming up on Saturday as well. That will take place on Saturday night at 7 o'clock. So get on out to the arena. Of course, you can watch the Sharks and Shark Bites on the weekend on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. All the home games, Shark Bites each and every week, Friday, Saturday. Oh, and how about the UNF softball team over the weekend? Selection Sunday was a cool deal over on the campus of the University of North Florida as they make it to the NCAA tournament for the first time ever. They've been knocking on that door. And congrats to Jeff Conrad and the ladies from UNF as they win the ASUN Championship, and they are on to the NCAA tournament up in South Carolina. They don't have to go to Florida State or Florida, which I thought they might get to, but instead they go to South Carolina, which is a little bit different. They'll play Virginia on Friday afternoon. So we'll have some of that covered throughout the week, and we will talk to and hear from some of the ladies at the University of North Florida softball program as well. Austin Lane scheduled to join us in just a little bit from down in South Florida, so we'll have that for you today on the show. Jason Hamby in and out because, well, it's wedding week for Jason Hamby. So he's got to start memorizing the names of his entire wedding party because it's so big. And Kim's Corner here today with us. So we appreciate Kim for hanging out. Casey's going to be in a little bit later on. We have a little weekend trivia. So that's the rundown. What's up, Daniel Kilkenny, YB400? What's happening? And Hunter needs to get some creatine. You know, it's really funny you say that as we begin our probably a long discussion about Travis Hunter and what took place at rookie minicamp. Do have a one-on-one with Bashal Tuten. That will be part of the discussion. And it is hard not to notice that part of it on Travis Hunter. He is not big. He's just not a big guy. I mean, he's obviously a tremendously talented guy. But usually when you get a player like this that kind of could change the game, as James Gladstone said, there's less a physical specimen we're so used to this day and age. And, I mean, he's ripped, but he's like 180 pounds. I mean, I don't even know if he looks that much. I mean, it's really wild to see him out there, but he's very fluid and looks all the part so far. Let's go down to South Florida and Austin Lane checking in, and before a workout as he begins his quest for the next win in the cage in the UFC, and that will happen, hopefully in about, a couple months. We won't tell exactly when once that becomes official, but I'm sure you saw some of the video from camp, Austin Lane, and it is YB400 brings that up. Travis Hunter in a uniform, or at least in shorts and a shirt and a helmet. Yeah, he doesn't look overly big, does he?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I didn't get to go, but I saw a lot of the Jaguars released some videos and everything, and I think two things are very apparent. I think it's apparent that this dude is a very fluid and smooth route runner. He makes it look effortless, and we've kind of talked about that a little bit. But actually seeing him with the Jaguars helmet on and the Jaguars practice gear, I think it amplified it a little more. Just wow, this. And I want to be too careful, Brent, because I said the same thing about Calvin Ridley, where I'm like, we haven't really seen this before, and then Calvin Ridley went out there and did really what, right? So you got to temper expectations a little bit, but for a first-year wide receiver, I thought he looked quick. I thought he looked fluid. But yeah, in terms of size and stature, I mean, especially I feel like next to Brian Thomas Jr., who's more of a taller type of dude, I would say Travis Hunter's obviously on the smaller side, which is okay. I mean, there's plenty of great wide receivers who are more on the smaller side as well.
It's interesting you just said that, and I think YB400 brings up Devontae Smith, right? And I don't know if we call Devontae Smith great. I think good. I'm not sure great. There's probably a measure there somewhere, but that's a good comp because he's not a big dude either, and he's a Heisman Trophy winner and obviously has played well in the NFL. But I was talking to Jeff Lageman there. I was like, man, he's not big. And he's like, yeah, it doesn't matter. He's like, there are so many players that have played in this league at that size and that have been very good. And I should have continued the conversation and said, okay, give me the list because I was starting to think about it and then I stopped thinking about it. And now here I am back thinking about it. But he kind of said the same thing you said, Austin, right? Like that there are plenty of guys that in this league, like you don't have to be looking like LeBron James to play in this league and be good.
No, this is true, but the biggest thing, whether you want to compare him to the size of Devontae Smith, I mean, Waddle, whoever you want to call out, they're not playing defense as well, or they're not going to be on defensive packages as well. Now, once again, we'll see when it comes to fruition what it's going to look like, but I mean, I think a legit valid question is, okay, if he's a little on the smaller size, how is his body going to hold up to the NFL? How's his body going to hold up to, if a running back's coming to his side, he's got to make a tackle. Like, how is that going to hold up and everything? Because, listen, dude's got all the talent in the world. The most important part now for Travis Hunter is getting him acclimated and making sure he doesn't get hurt.
I think, we ask these questions about a lot of different guys coming into the league, just so you know, and I don't think we need to belabor it anymore. But even a guy like Lamar Jackson, is somebody that I think over time we've said, well, hey, how's he going to be able to take hits and everything else? And he's done a good job protecting his body. He's also gotten bigger. So I guess I would say that, Austin, do you think like they'll try to put more weight on him over, maybe it's even the next couple years, the early stages of his NFL career? Or are they just going to say, hey, he's played great at this level, play great at this level too, and the same body type, size?
No, I mean, when you get into the league, and regardless if you're a wide receiver, a running back, a lineman, like when your whole focus is on football and you have to go to school anymore and it's literally just football in the weight room, on the practice field, like you're naturally going to probably put some, weight on and, obviously healthy weight with Travis Hunter. So I wouldn't be surprised if he added 10 or 15 pounds eventually in his career. But the biggest thing is can his frame handle that? And can he have success with that? Because people carry weight differently. I mean, I remember when I had to put on 15 pounds to go to Kansas City and play a 3 technique, like my body didn't respond well to that. So once again, it's gonna be, staying in touch with Travis Hunter, staying up to date of how he feels, how the body's feeling. But I wouldn't be surprised if he added a little muscle here or there. I don't think it's gonna hurt him at all.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. I mean, I think that would be. By the way, like he is all muscle too. Like, I mean, you're there. I mean, he is. All you got to do is look at him at the news conference, which we'll see in just a little bit. I mean, he is all muscle. But go back to the other stuff that you said, which is really more important. I mean, he looks the part. He's very fluid. He's so comfortable, man. Again, this is a whole package type of deal for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I keep trying to tell everybody that. Like, you can talk about the talent, you can talk about both sides of the ball, and that is obviously why you get picked number 2 overall. But there's the airplane story, right, which has really gone viral this weekend. But that's the human being side of Travis Hunter, and this team really loves that part. They didn't really have a lot of interactions with him, but they did their work to know this guy's a good dude, and that is part of it for him. But I think the biggest thing outside of his playability is also the energy, the passion, the smile, the playing the air guitar. This is normal. Football is just so, I don't want to say easy, Austin, because it's a tough game, but it feels like something so easy to him. Like sometimes there are just things that you're really comfortable at in the setting, and I don't know what that is for every person. Sometimes that's your couch. Sometimes that's your workplace. Sometimes that's an athletic field for people. And for this guy, being in between those lines is home sweet home, and he really makes it look that way.
Yeah, I mean, I think he really enjoys what he does. And when you show up to work every single day and you love what you do, um, it's easy to give it 110%. It's easy to exert yourself and to be a leader. Yeah, I mean, I think it's evident whether any interviews you watch him, whether it's the highlights on the field, of that mini camp there, he's dancing around like he's having fun, and that's the most important part, and that's going to be on Liam Cohen and company as well to maintain that. Like, yes, there's going to be times to work and everything, and there's really times you got to kind of rally the troops and maybe rule with a little more of an iron fist, but you have to cultivate that environment where it's like, hey guys, yes, this is work, yes, this is football, but we can still have fun doing it, and that's what I think Liam Cohen's going to bring to this team as well, just because he understands, I feel like, the modern era NFL player. To me, the biggest thing, I don't want to say I worry about it, but I'm very curious to see how Travis Hunter handles this, is he's so good on social media and he's so good with all his videos and everything, where he opens himself up to really the world. And it was one thing when you were in college, in Boulder, and you had the Colorado Buffaloes, and like that was kind of like your niche. That was your team, and people revolved around that. But now you're in the National Football League, where like if you say something and you mean it a certain way and it's taken out of context, like people will take that and roll with it for a week on end, right? And especially now with Travis Hunter, who is such a guy who is, I don't want to say even he's in polarizing because nobody dislikes him. But like my biggest worry is, okay, when you put yourself out there that much, and let's be honest, you probably aren't going to have great game after great game. There's going to be that one game where maybe things don't go your way a little bit. I'm very curious to see how he handles that, because when you put yourself out there for everybody to see, it's going to come with scrutiny. It's going to come with, some haters or whatever like that. And I think by all indications, Travis Hunter's done a great job of dealing with those so far, but I just feel like in the NFL, it's amplified.
Yeah, that's a good call. I'm gonna be interested in that too, because I love this kind of stuff. It's what we do, and so I like. I mean, listen, we get a little, I guess, judgy stereotype type of thing because we only have these small samples, or we try to figure it out. And I said this coming off his news conference, like you can feel so comfortable, you can feel, you can know your brand, you can be this YouTube star and everything else, and all that is so comfortable, yet you can also be very guarded in your interactions with the media, knowing the microphone's on. Now, can you always do that? We'll see, but I think he has a good balance of that. I don't think he loves doing the news conferences. I think he knows how to kind of protect himself in the news conferences. I think we're seeing a couple of those already. He's very well rehearsed at keeping it pretty tight on a response and not really taking it anywhere else. Therefore, you can control the narrative to all the things that you kind of said. Now, will that always be the case after a loss or whatever else? We'll find out. But I do think he's got a nice balance right now of that, and it's kind of a little surprising to me. I actually think when you see a guy with this kind of personality, you'd almost think on the microphone he'd be kind of long-winded and kind of taking you in with him and all that stuff. And I wouldn't say it's like pulling teeth with him at the news conference stuff, but it certainly isn't like, hey, this thing's going to go on for 25 minutes. You know what I mean, Austin? Like it's pretty. It feels like he knows how to protect himself, and you got to remember this is an athlete that's grown up in this kind of world. Like he is not the first athlete to grow up in this kind of world, the social media world, the branding world, the everything else, but he's done it now for a long time, and since he was a kid almost, and he did it at the highest of levels at Colorado with the whole Deion Sanders thing.
No, without a doubt. I mean, like this guy has come to the league, I feel like, tried and tested of how to deal, with the media landscape and everything. And he does seem like a guy who, is going to be very reserved in press conferences because I think he would rather tell his own story by himself. Like he has those platforms, he has his Twitch channel, he has social media. So, if he feels like he has to share something, he can go about those channels and doing so, which is great. I mean, that's kind of how the modern athlete operates now. My only point is just, and I get it, you were a big name in college, maybe the biggest name in college and everything, but even being the biggest name in college and then going to the NFL and I get it, Jacksonville, it's not New York, right? It's not the largest market, but cameras are going to find you, people are going to find you, and yeah, you're going to be under a microscope, and everything that you say or do will be judged.
Yeah, and the thing is, I guess there's a sense of this is how much will we have rabbit ears on some of that too, right? Like you can't respond to everything, and so if people don't like something or whatever, that's when you kind of can get yourself in a little bit of trouble. Like, oh, look at this person saying this about me or whatever, and we've had athletes do that too. So that part will be interesting, especially this isn't a guy that's been criticized that much over time, right? I mean, it comes a little bit with the territory, but he's been highly praised, and so far we are too. I mean, he's a cool cat. We've talked about this in the past. I feel like you've brought up pot roast Terrence Knight in this fashion. You remember guys that bring the juice, right? Like that actually, like, let's see how somebody, Hamby's Burner just said, Travis is a mood setter. That's evident. Every time he started dancing, the rest of the wide receivers joined in too. And that's exactly what I'm talking about, right? That's what I'm talking about, that this team is leaning on him for as well. Like, you got to play well. But that part of it, don't sleep on it. That's an important part of it. It's a very professional football team we've talked about in the past. Do they have enough personality? Do they have enough juice? He's bringing that. Austin, there are guys that can do that, and I think all teams need some of that, right?
Yeah, all teams definitely need some of that, especially when you get the vibe of Liam Cohen being a little more maybe of an analytical X's and O's coach, right? Like, if you, for instance, let's look at the Chiefs. Like, is Andy Reid the most boisterous, rah-rah guy? Absolutely not. But he's always had guys in that locker room, even back when I played for him, that kind of bring that juice, that kind of bring that mentality a little bit. And that's what coaches need, right? Like, it's one thing to be a coach and try to come up with a perfect game plan and the play calls, and Liam Cohen will try to do that. But then to try to balance that, and I'm like, oh man, I have to motivate these men as well, because they're not being, like, that's a lot on somebody's plate, especially a first-year coach. So I think the more guys that you get in there that can bring the energy, that can bring the enthusiasm, the better it's going to be for the team. And whether that looks like dancing, in between plays, whether that looks like someone, getting fired up or throwing a helmet, whatever it looks like, as long as it's energy, it's contagious, and that's what the Jaguars need, because that was kind of lacking last year a little bit.
Yeah, I think one thing, this feels very Trevor-like in terms of maybe not the personality stuff on the field, but the vibe and the electricity on the field and the big story. I mean, I think I told you this last week, but we had people calling from, all over the place asking for, hey, you guys going to be there? Can you have video of this? Can you do this? Can you do that? And he's going to be such a big story. And we'll see if it's evident from maybe a primetime game coming out with the schedule on Wednesday. But, even the Jacksonville media for a rookie mini camp, it was in droves by our standard. It really was. I mean, it was, I kind of joked about it on social media, but I'm kind of not joking about it. Like, there are people out there on a Saturday afternoon that you could not get out there, normally. So I think that was it. And plus a couple thousand people there, and they had a really good response and a quick response. And a lot of those showed up, even on a day where it was a little sketchy weather-wise. Turned out it was pretty hot, and the weather opened just for that window of time. And it was a good afternoon to be in Jacksonville. But there's already such an impact with Travis Hunter. A couple of comments from the chat. And Hamby's Burner says it. Cool to see the immediate impact. YB400 says he'll bulk up. Look how Trevor did in ETN, and BTJ kind of will. Yeah, I get it. I mean, you definitely add more as you go, no doubt. He also says Hunter plays defense. The smallest DB comp will be Sauce Gardner. That's interesting. Sauce doesn't look small to me, but I get what you're saying. Let's see. What else? Calvin says Percy Harvin was about the same size. Boy, I feel like Percy Harvin was bigger. I feel like Percy Harvin was kind of built, but I'd have to go back and look up his size. I would say it feels like Travis Hunter seems more thin or lean. I don't know what the nice way to say it. I'm not, but probably more lean than even Harvin did. But maybe coming out of school he was. YB's some comps, Devontae Smith. Oh, this is William Torres saying some comps. Devontae Smith, Champ Bailey, Darius Slay. And that's really been some of the comps, right? Devontae Smith and Darius Slay from both sides of the ball. So there definitely are the comps out there. Glenn C. says Ransaw's face when signing his contract was awesome, cold-blooded. He's a guy that we're going to talk about quite a bit, although I'm not sure anybody's talking about anybody but Travis Hunter. Z. Fortner says, I was surprised how little he said at the news conference. We'll get used to it. And again, this is not a knock on him. I just think he's going to protect the message. And he knows how to do it. He's very savvy to that already. Glenn also says, Travis is good-hearted, I love life kind of guy, gets on the field and turns into Dr. Jekyll. That'll be interesting, right? Does he have I don't necessarily, I think sometimes, Austin, that's looked at as like a mean streak, right? I talk about that a bunch. Malik Jackson, I thought, really had that. There are other guys that have had it where you cross the line and like a flip of a switch. It's like, okay, now I'm almost a maniac. I don't really think Travis Hunter is going to be that way, but I think his compete is probably even in the 1% realm, maybe higher than a lot of other people. And I think that's what you see on the field. Plus, it's just natural to him because he's so gifted.
Yeah, I mean, I don't expect, I always felt like the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde guys were more like on defense, like the linebackers and everything. Yeah, I mean, listen, we don't need Travis Hunter frothing at the mouth and like flexing on everybody and all this stuff. But once again, I mean, I do think, I just think he's a humble guy. And then when he gets on the field, like, I don't necessarily think he's got the dog in him, but I just think like he knows how good he is and he's so comfortable with it where it's just like, check this out, and once again, when we talk about the uses of energy and not having to over apply yourself, not having to put on a facade. I said it before, Brent, I think Gardner Minshew, even though he's a different type of person than Travis Hunter, shared a lot of those same qualities where people from the outside want to say, okay, this guy is just, he's putting on this front. This is not who he really is. And then we talk to his dad and it's like, yeah, that's who Gardner Minshew was. And I think Travis Hunter is exactly who Travis Hunter is. And that's all he's got to be.
I'm going to two more things before we hit a break. One, that they're heavy on the offensive side right now, but two, and we'll get to that in a moment. But just to stay on this, and I know I feel a little bit like we're belaboring this, but I do think it's unique, and I think it's unique. But you tell me, Austin, like this stuff that we're seeing with the personality, there's stuff that we're talking about with that smile. Is it unique in professional sports? Is that why we're drawn to it? Obviously, his skill set, he's a unicorn on the field, offense, defense. We know that. The Shohei Ohtani of football right now, if you want to say it. But are we drawn to a guy that looks like he's playing a kid's game like a kid, even though he's 22 years old and now getting paid millions to do it? Do we see that a lot out of pro athletes? And is that part just as unique to all of us? Is that why we're kind of embracing that right now in Jacksonville?
No, I mean, like, let's be honest here. Like, yeah, I mean, are we drawn towards the personality? Maybe, but like, I think we're just drawn to Travis Hunter because we hadn't really seen this before. Like we haven't seen a guy play both positions. Like let's keep it 100 here. If Travis Hunter was just a wide receiver, do you think he'd be getting like all this media attention from the national level? Obviously from the local level because he's a first round pick, so he's getting that. But like from the national level, from Sports Illustrated, like would he be getting all the love? Probably not, right? Because there's other wide receivers out there. There's your Tet McMillans. Just name your guy. But the fact that Travis Hunter can play both positions, and once again, we don't know what it's going to look like yet, but like we have an imagination of what it could look like. Like that's the draw, Brent. Like I think Travis Hunter could be cocky. He could be, getting in everybody's face and be brash, and we would still tune in just the same, just because we want to see what he can do on the field. But he's not. He's humble, he's laid back, he's fun-loving, and that's great. But I don't necessarily think it's got to do with the personality as much as it has to do with what he can do on the field.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's a good explanation of it. If he was just a receiver or a defensive back, he'd get attention, and maybe even from the national folks just because. But he got the attention from the national folks in college, and here, partly because he was with Dion, but also because he was playing 120 snaps a game. So that is the intrigue above everything else. When I ask the question, I don't think of a lot of guys that come to mind at the professional level that if he continues to play the game with this kind of smile that you say, hey, man, that looks like just a guy playing like a kid out there, you know? And I think we've been drawn to these kind of players in the past, at least I have been, with maybe it's a Javi Baez back in the day. It looked like he was just playing a little league ball, even though it was playing at the highest of levels. Looked like he was having fun. There's an electricity to that. Maybe Acuna plays the game that way. Sometimes this stuff looks so serious because of the money on the line, and then you kind of dial it back to when it was 12, 13, 14, 15 years old, and we all remember playing the game or a game like that. Like in basketball, is that, does Steph Curry have a little bit of that in him? Is he the guy in the NBA that kind of reminds you of, just sometimes just a game?
Yeah, I mean, I think Steph Curry can be one of those dudes. It's a good question. I'd have to think about it a little bit.
Yeah,
I think, to me, Steph Curry always smiling, chewing on his mouth guard. He does seem like that guy. But once again, much like Travis Hunter, like Steph Curry just makes it look so effortless. I mean, best shooter in NBA history. Like he doesn't exert himself. It's like, yeah, I do this every single day. And I think he has that same characteristic with Travis Hunter.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, last part of this until we got to take a break. But obviously they worked him out in the offensive side for the first couple of days. They'll integrate him into the defensive side of the ball over the next couple of weeks, probably maybe even this week. But no surprise there, Austin, right? Do you like the fact that we have an emphasis on the offensive side of the ball with him? They've already identified that, right? They haven't been afraid to talk about that. I think a lot of teams would be, playing coy. The last regime would be playing coy. Be like, oh yeah, well, it's like, no, these guys are just like, no, we're going to use them on offense, and then we'll get them into the defense, and then even he said, and we'll hear from Travis Hunter in just a little bit and Liam Cohen, but he's like, oh, the defensive side's easy. It was kind of funny, like in terms of the playbook, right? Yeah. He's like, oh yeah, I already know, I've been looking at it, but yeah, that part's easy. Got to get into the weeds on the offensive playbook, though.
No, for sure, yeah. I mean, obviously, you want to see him on offense right now because it's all about Trevor Lawrence, it's all about Liam Cohen. So, yes, it makes complete sense. But it's, the biggest thing that I'm looking forward to seeing is how Travis Hunter can, whether it's zone coverage, whether it's man coverage, but how he can do against some of the best wide receivers in the league. Like, what's it going to be like when he lines up on Brian Thomas Jr. that first day at training camp? And what is that going to look like? Because I've always been a pretty big advocate of this. I feel like one of the hardest positions to play from college and then transitioning to the NFL is cornerback. Just the receivers are so good. The route running so crisp. There's speed. It's just, everything's amplified. I think wide receiver might be one of the easier positions just because, we've seen this how many times in the draft where if you're a top 15 guy, you can have 1,000 yards easily. The team's going to get you the ball. So that's what I'm looking forward to going forward, Brent, here with Travis Hunter is what's it going to look like when he lines up on Brian Thomas Jr. at practice, and can he hold his own?
My goodness, camp's going to be fun, right? Like when he goes against Tyson Campbell and then he lines up. I wasn't even thinking about that as much. But then if he lines up, just put him out there and see what we got, right? I mean, camp's going to be a popcorn show.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be must-see TV, man. Jaguars should have a pay-per-view stream for that.
Yeah, that is kind of fun. All right, let's take a time out. We come back. We have a lot of sound from the weekend. If you missed it, we get to react to some of the things that were said. Plus, I have a one-on-one with Tuten as well. I think a lot of people are high on that guy. I am not going to sit here coming out of a Saturday practice where they were in shorts and just start raving about everything I saw. Okay, we're not doing that. But I think there's reason to be excited about some of these guys. I stopped getting too excited about fourth-round draft picks a long time ago. Doesn't mean you can't be. I stopped being that way, though. So a lot of the rookies on the field. And I think it was nice to see Travis Hunter, the headliner, but there are a lot of other storylines from Ransaw to Milam and Tuten as well that we'll get into here on a Monday. The Brent Austen Show on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. It is a good vibe there, right there, that place. There's a good vibe going on. even though it is under construction. Look at all that construction. It's pretty wild to see that much change right outside that part of the stadium as they continue to get work. I mean, it's happening. 2028 can't come soon enough when it comes to that renovated stadium. When it's time to get a new car for anyone in your family, just remember, nobody but Nimnick, the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Get the latest price breaks on 2023 and 2024 models or the newest 2025 vehicles in the showroom on Phillips Highway or shop online at nimnickbuickgmc.com 24 hours a day. GMC Sierras, Yukons, and the redesigned Acadias, or get the all-new redesigned line with Buicks. It's nobody but Nimnick, and part of the reason why is this is a first-class buying experience here at Nimnick Buick GMC. You're not just a customer, you're a friend. This is about getting a vehicle that best fits you and getting you on the road, and also helping you and your family down the road. Nimnick has a treating you right guarantee, courtesy, respect, fairness, and most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer, nobody but Nimnick. Who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? Nobody but Nimnick. GMC, we are professional grade.
The schedules are out for another summer of soccer here in Jacksonville with the Armada men's and women's under-23 squads, starting with the ladies and the home opener on May 24th. 2 weeks later, they're back in Northeast Florida for a June 7th matchup. The season wraps up with a pair of Friday night home matches June 20th and the 27th. As for the boys in blue, they debut against a couple league newcomers on May 9th and 17th respectively, with more home dates on May 31st, June 14th, and June 21st. All those matches are at Edward Waters University, and you can watch them live on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Those teams are a big focus on Fleet and Footy, covering the big soccer stories each week on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
I'll put one in the back of the net for you.
Join us for player profiles, fun interviews, and the very latest on the Fleet and all things footy. That's every Thursday at 2 p.m.
I've been telling you about CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing for a long time now. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We've had a Connecticut water softener and drinking water system in our home for more than 7 years. You can see the difference whether you're washing clothes, the dishes, or what I like to do most, fill this up for some coffee every morning, and mostly all day. Remember, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. Right now, you can get a free Connecticut reverse osmosis system with the purchase of a Connecticut Premier Softener. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions so you can improve it. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Ask about our 90-day love it or leave it guarantee. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
There's a saying in sports, you can't win them all, but you can win a lot with good folks on your team. Like that one painter, First Coast. It's tough to beat the sun in Florida, so your home fades. It's tough to beat that HOA when they come calling. Beat the sun, beat the HOA with that one painter, First Coast. And it's a good time to do it. Less rain to work around, and painting in mild temperatures is perfect. After all, the paint bonds to the surface so much better. Give that one painter First Coast a call at 904-417-3557 or look them up at first-coast.thatonepainter.com. Fast estimate, guidance on color and HOA requirements, and the highest quality job you'll find anywhere. Be a big winner in your neighborhood with that one painter First Coast on your team.
It's fast-paced,
Hands off on first down, and there goes Edward Vander.
high-fly,
Wide open receiver. It's caught.
action-packed, weekend fun. Fun for the entire family. It's the Jacksonville Sharks. I feel like anybody could play in this league. It's gotta be like backyard football, right?
Whoa! This ain't the Arena League, Brent. This is the indoor league, and they play defense here.
It's a lot safer to just watch the professionals play. And watching is a lot of fun. A party in the stands at the arena for kids and adults. And it's indoors. Get out of the heat for the summer and watch the Sharks shine inside. Jacksonville Sharks football, season number 15. It's the Drive for 5, and it's still alive. Get your tickets at jacksharks.com.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Well, there you go, shopping for the Travis Hunter jersey. Does it fit? Of course it fits. That's going to be off the shelves in a hurry in Jacksonville. And the store right there, that pro shop with a couple thousand fans along the way on Saturday afternoon, they were buying and ready to go. A little Travis Hunter fever. And, you know, what's nice about the Jags right now, we've really struggled with this at times over the years in Jacksonville, finding stars. Now, the question is, what level are some of the stars the Jags have, or at least what could be stars are at? We call them blue chip players. Travis Hunter has to be a blue chip player for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Brian Thomas Jr., a lot of folks would come in here, assess the Jaguars roster right now and say, hey, Brian Thomas Jr. is your only true blue chip player. And I don't know if people agree with that or not. Now, I think the Jags have some players right on the cusp of that. And that could be Trevor Lawrence. That could be Josh Hines-Allen. That could be Trayvon Walker. I don't really feel that way necessarily about Tyson Campbell yet. Does he have the capability? Does he have the ceiling to do it? Probably, but I don't think he's that right now. I don't think you feel that way about him. But I do think Trevor, we've seen some of it. Like we saw a second half of 2022 where it was like some of the best quarterbacking in the NFL. So, like, you have some evidence that he can get there. I don't think we've seen that with Campbell this a long enough time to be like, oh, yeah, he could be one of the top 5 corners in the league. I know he's getting paid handsomely, but I don't think that's necessarily what we've seen. Josh Hines-Allen had a 17.5 sack season. But does that make him year after year a blue chip player for you? I think the opinions vary. I probably would say yes to him. I would lean that way. I don't think everybody does, though. And then Trayvon Walker, it looks like he's knocking on the door of that. So at the end of the day, like, how many blue chip players do the Jacksonville Jaguars actually have? And you need more than one now. So like Brian Thomas Jr., I think a lot of people are saying, hey, that's a dude. Like, that's real stuff. I don't know if anybody else would say, yeah, that's the guy. We got that. And we'll see if that changes. Of course, you know what changes that is winning. You know, you start winning, you start performing better, and then a lot of that you can buy in. We could have the same conversation in December if the Jaguars are 8-4. When they were 8-3, going to that Monday Night Football game against the Bengals, looked like they had blue chip players, didn't they? Looked like they had more of them. That was the year, obviously, Josh had a big year. Trevor was playing really well going into that game for the last few weeks, so you could make that argument. Not so much after that and since then. So that's a little bit of the problem. And the hope is that Travis Hunter becomes that guy. He becomes another one of those blue chip players, and the Jags could have 2 of those guys on the offensive side, and we'll see if he could make that claim on the defensive side. The total package of Travis Hunter could certainly be that way, but you might not single out him as a blue chip player just on the defensive side. It really just depends how much the Jaguars use him. So, hey, I think we're seems like Austin might be out for a bit, and then he'll come back in a little bit later on in the show. He's got to be back and forth, just so everybody knows. He'll be in and out of the show for really the next little bit. He's done this before during a fight camp. So if you're just here for Austin, don't worry, he'll be back. But hopefully you're here for the show. The Brent Austen Show here on a Monday where we're talking a lot of Travis Hunter, a lot about the Jags rookie minicamp. So here's what I'd like to do, Kim, if we can. I want to play it. I'm assuming most people have heard the news conference for Travis Hunter. It's not a long one, so let's hear from Travis Hunter. He's kind of the story of the day and story of the weekend, and maybe we'll react to some of the things he said. We'll hear also from Liam Cohen coming up in just a little bit on the usage of Travis Hunter and the acclamation for Travis Hunter, and then also I go one-on-one with Bashal Tuten, and There were a couple other folks in there too, but mostly one-on-one with Tuten. So we'll hear from the Jags running back, who I think also people are really excited about, but everybody else you're excited about is a little bit on the back burner after this opening weekend because it's all about Travis Hunter. Here's Travis Hunter from Saturday after practice.
Graduation.
Thank you.
Walk us through that experience, then flying right on back for practice.
I mean, it was a blessing to be the first person in my family to walk across the stage, but, you know, I was just thinking about getting back to work and coming back and playing football.
Pajama pants? You were Jags pajama pants? Why was that?
That's the first thing I ordered off Amazon when I got drafted, so.
That night? You ordered that
That night.
How have these past 2 days been for you, just being able to be on the field?
It's been a blessing, you know, to come out here with the guys, with the rookies, and, you know, just come out here and work every day, try to get better.
Does it feel real yet here in the NFL?
I definitely feel real coming out here for this scenery. It's pretty, it's hot. It's what I remember from being a little kid out here playing, so, yeah, I love it.
Liam says next week you'll start getting integrated more into the defense. When I say that, what does that make you? Does that get the juices flowing, or is it another day at the office?
I've been already getting integrated to the defense. I've been doing offense and defense. The past 2 days, I just came out here and did offense.
The fans being out here such a wave, what was that experience like this past week?
It's been a blessing, you know, to have the fans come out here and check us out, you know, check out the whole team and the rookies. So it's been a blessing.
Has it been different? Has it been different for you at all to have to learn two playbooks? I know you probably did it in the past, but at the NFL level, has it been different so far?
Not so much different. You know, you just got to get used to it. You know, it's just a lot of different type of calls, but other than that, the defense is pretty easy. You just got to get used to the offense.
What about the offense? What makes that a challenge a little bit?
Just longer calls and, you know, concepts are different. So you just got to, you know.
What's your relationship been?
I saw there were a few times over there where if you didn't get it right how you wanted it, you would go right back to the front of the line. Why was it so important for you to get that out of down?
Because, you know, organization expected a lot out of me. You know, expect me to come out here and play right away, so I'm going to do whatever it takes for me to get out there and play right away.
Do you meet at your...
Facing yourself position-wise, you have to face yourself a little bit because of exactly what you just said. There's high expectations that just too much too soon. Are you ready for that, or can you pace that out for the next few months until the start of the season?
No, I'm definitely ready, you know, but we're going to take our time with it, and we're just going to get better each day.
When did you meet Edgar Bennett, and walk us through that relationship?
When I met him, when I came here, it was like we hit it off right away. You know, he's been in Green Bay. He taught Devontae Adams, so, you know, just seeing him coach a player like that is just, you know I can learn a lot from him.
Anything stand out to you about Ransaw? I know it's early, but anything in terms of personality or player?
I don't know what to tell you about that one.
How about some of the other wide receivers that are here? Did you know any of them before you got into the room with them?
Yeah, I know a couple of them, but, you know, we're just going to go in there as a group and just try our hardest, you know, be on the team and fight for each other and go out there and play.
Nice to have a couple teammates here, former Colorado.
Yeah, it's very nice seeing my boys out here, you know, coming out here and balling.
Did you have anything to do? Did you push for them, or it was?
No, it was a surprise to me. They did what they had to do to get to this level, so I'm excited for them. Yes, I definitely embrace being a leader in the room. You know, I try to do everything right so they can follow behind me and do the same as me.
You're out here dancing, doing your thing. Is it important for you to be authentic, to be who you are, regardless of being a rookie or whatever?
Yes, it's definitely a blessing to, you know, be able to do that. You know, I got to be authentic. You know, got to bring the energy up out here. You know, make sure everyone is having fun. You know, with a smile on their face and doing what we love.
Why is that important? Why is that important from a team standpoint?
It just help all of us bond in a different way. So it's definitely super important. I don't know yet. They probably just changed my color, and I've been a different color than everybody.
Yeah. Has there been anything about, since you got drafted and got here, the onboarding process, or just being here, anything been surprising to you, or something that you weren't expecting at all?
Nah, nothing's been surprising. You know, I just go and be where my feet are, so I'm just excited to be here.
Have you gotten to work with Trevor Lawrence at all yet, Travis?
No, my boat is not here yet. It will get here in like 5 days.
Okay.
Have you had any interactions with Trevor Lawrence, and what's that been like?
Yeah, I talked to him on the phone. You know, that's just private, what we talked about, and, you know, our conversations. But yeah, I talked to him.
Is there anyone that you're looking forward to when you all get together?
I'm looking forward to seeing all the vets. I'm ready to, you know, take knowledge from them and go out there and just, you know, build a bond and get started.
Don't take the weight on out here, and it's only going to get hotter. Ideally for you, what would you like to play at this year?
Whatever coach told me to play at.
Has he told you yet?
Nah, he just let me go. He just let me go out here and just play and just have fun.
Anything else? All right, thanks for having me.
All right, thank you.
Well, there he was on Saturday, and again, it's cool just watching it back because obviously we were there, and it's different watching it in its entirety. And he's a good listener. He really just soaks it all in, and he knows he's got an answer, but it's certainly not going to go on for 25 seconds. Like it ain't gonna go on but it kind of answers the question just real quick, and it shows the personality even in there. You could hear the crowd, someone from the crowd shouted at him, got his attention as fans were leaving the press conference. I mean, even the fun moments of the pajamas. Nothing says he is who he is like wearing the pajama bottoms of the Jags to his graduation, right? And it was the first thing he bought. And that kind of goes back to excited to be a Jags player. People are still, the comment that I keep getting from folks in town or out of town or whatever is like, he really looked like he was excited that the Jags picked him. And like that keeps hitting everybody, which is also kind of cool. The boat deal is fun. Nothing lights this guy up like talking about fishing. I mean, well, I guess he talking about football lights him up too, but it gets a different level. Like when he's talking about fishing, he really loves to fish. I mentioned this earlier on about he called the defense is the easy part. It's basically like, don't worry about that. Like, that'll be fine. And he was talking more about the playbook and schematically and getting that down. He's obviously more concerned about the offense, the new concepts, and the elongated calls that he's going to have. And Cohen talks about that a little bit. In fact, I'll bring that up in just a moment because talking about the huddle, Kim, because I thought that was fascinating. But we'll talk about that with Cohen in just a moment, just how ground level that these guys have to get with this group when you transition from college to the NFL. The one other note that I'd asked him a little bit about leadership, and I guess I don't really know that part, and I think we'll all figure out that part. But I think the way he answered it was kind of cool because he knows he is one. He knows people are going to be drawn to him. He knows there's a magneticism, if you will, about him as a person, but also as a player. He didn't seem like, I can't wait to meet Brian Thomas Jr. or anything like that. But I actually think there's a part of the vets that have watched his story unfold from a distance for the last couple of years, probably find his personality very engaging and kind of can't wait to meet him. Like, I think there's something there about, like, I bet there are some vets that walk in that building today or this week and are like, I could go find me Travis Hunter. Even if Travis Hunter isn't saying I got to go find me X player, that I watch on TV. So there's something about it that way, and with that comes leadership, right? There are certain positions, there are certain things when you get paid a certain amount of money. Like I would say Tyson Campbell, there's leadership that comes with that. Even though he doesn't look like the outgoing leader, sound like it all the time, he needs to lead. I think then you have Trevor Lawrence, who's the quarterback. He needs to lead. Josh Hines-Allen, he's been around here a while, needs to lead. Everybody can do that in their own way. But I do think whether it's Brian Thomas Jr. at some point as a young player or it's a guy like Travis Hunter who comes in here with all this expectation, you're drawn to these guys. And with that comes some type of leadership. And leadership can be delivered in a bunch of different ways. But it'll be interesting to watch that part of it. And I think that's interesting with Brian Thomas Jr. too. A lot of these other guys that are in those roles, we've seen them do it. But we haven't necessarily had to see a Brian Thomas Jr. or a Travis Hunter right away. But I think down the road you will, and you'll have to. So what I call that is almost like the maturation of these guys in the NFL. We get a chance to watch these guys grow up, and I think that's kind of cool. So we'll see what this looks like this year versus next year, 3 years, 4 years down the road, and hopefully for a long, long time to come. Brent Martineau here on the Brent Austen Show on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 Network. Austin will jump back in a little bit. Casey will jump back in as well. Kim, let's play that Liam Cohen soundbite talking about the huddle. And this was pretty wild. This was Cohen talking about how elementary they have to get sometimes in their teaching because the college game is so different. Here's what the head coach had to say on Saturday.
Just more, we called that an alignment assignment period where, we've installed plays, right, on both sides of the ball, concepts, formations, motions, shifts, defensively, calls, right, adjustments to these formations and motions and shifts. And so it was just a good op to kind of get out there, get the huddle. It's wild when you poll these guys on how many have been in the huddle recently and how many have heard a verbal cadence recently. It's very minimal. So we are actually teaching, this is the huddle, this is where you line up in the huddle, this is how we break the huddle, and this is a verbal cadence. And so that is like starting at, ground zero in a lot of ways. So didn't really feel like it was fully necessary to come and do true competitive 11 on 11, but at the end of the day, I think we got something out of it.
That is wild. Think about that. Think about it. I want to try to relate this to any other sport. And like what you end up having in the NFL at some point, like this is I think kind of the cool behind the scenes of a preseason game. Or sometimes like, how we always in Jacksonville or for a long time did the stadium practice inside in August. And a lot of it's to do simple things like, hey, how do we enter the stadium? Or how do we get from the locker room to the field? Or what's the timing of this? Like those are pretty normal things for when you get to new places and how do you operate. And you want to be in sync, and there's an order to that and almost a chemistry to that in an odd way. It seems so elementary, but there's something to it. So that's more normal. But like in baseball, you don't get to the major leagues and like, I got to learn how to steal a base. Or I've got to learn how to get from the dugout to the batter's box. Or in basketball, like I got to go learn how to line up on a free throw line. This is kind of bizarre, right? But that's the difference between the college game and the wristband game and the kind of sugar huddle game of the college football versus the NFL, where they are literally teaching the guy where to be in the huddle. That is unbelievable on so many levels. And like, I don't say it in a critical way. I just think it's a reality. And I think it's kind of cool that Liam Cohen brought it up and actually addressed it. Like, hey, this is different. Now, is that going to take 3 weeks to figure out? No, it should take about 10 minutes of practice to do. So you don't have to really work that hard on it, I don't think. But that was just unbelievable to hear that. I was like, wow, you have to learn how to line up, how to break the huddle, probably the timing of all that too, right? Like when to do it. And it's not just the quarterback that knows how to do it. The good news here is you've got a lot of veterans in there that can be like, hey, Travis Hunter, or hey, Tuten, or hey, whoever, Milo, you go right here. It's not like you're throwing out 11 rookies all at one time. But that's a fascinating part of it. How do you huddle in the NFL? Because these guys haven't done it in a long time. And the cadence stuff is also, the cadence stuff probably is a bit more involved. This is something that I have heard with Cohen, though, that while you could go to the wristband stuff, and a lot of teams could still do that or want to do that, he does. I think from when I've talked to him, he doesn't want to do that because he thinks you're more involved. Like it kind of takes the creativity, the ownership. I'm not sure if I'm articulating this the right way, but like if you actually consume the call, instead of just look at it and line it up, you now digest the call. You can digest the whole thing from a quarterback perspective and even everybody else. Not to say that you'll never see these guys looking at a wristband. I think that will be interesting to watch. Like, do they get it all or do they have to go to the wristband? But I think if Cohen had his way, part of his teaching, part of his communication is to say, hey, I don't want to do that because I think it kind of limits how you consume it, how you know it, and then how you play it. And I think that matters to him. So, again, it'll be that's a very nuanced thing, but it'll be interesting to see how much the Jags do use, like whether it's a wristband or even just to have it, peek at it, look at it, some of those little things. I'm gonna re-earth this story. I don't even know if that's a thing, but I'm going to say it anyway. Re-earth this story from last year, where I had a story not ready to go, but I was starting to work on it about the art and anatomy of a play call. That basically when you get to that 25-second clock, or sometimes it'll be a 40-second clock, but 25-second clock, what transpires in that whole time frame from the time the play call gets to Trevor, to the huddle, to the breaking of the huddle, to the communication of the headset and everything else. And we never really did it because it was just too much of a mess early on. So, and we didn't know who the hell was calling plays. So that was the other problem with that story. But I'm kind of intrigued by the idea of that story because I think it's hard. I think there's a lot that goes on for all players, but especially the quarterback and the coaches. Things are happening fast, and I think it would give you a little bit more of a feel of how you do that 60-plus times in a game, how things can go wrong, how you can jump off sides or whatever it might be. And I think even Liam Cohen just dumbed it down for us a little bit more by saying even learning the huddle is something that has to happen around here in today's NFL. Let's take a break. Brent Austen Show on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 Network. We go one-on-one with Bashal Tuten. That's part of the discussion. More from Liam Cohen as well, as we're heavy Jags in the first bit of our show here on a Monday coming off our rookie minicamp. Always fun to talk about the Jags on the field. A wet day here in Jacksonville. By the way, they got 1.7 inches of rain on Saturday morning at the field, and their underground system really works, and a shout-out to the field crew, too. Again, they weren't practicing right there. They're practicing at the Miller Electric Center, but 1.7 inches of rain, and you couldn't even tell. Like, there wasn't a puddle on the field. However they built that sucker, and the people working on it, way to go. Most of us know how to throw. But you need to know what to throw. I'm not talking about footballs, baseballs, softballs. We're talking about those items you need to recycle. Republic Services explains it easy. Recycling simplified. 1. Know what to throw. When in doubt, throw it out. 2. Empty, clean, and dry those materials. It takes an extra minute, but it makes a big difference. And 3. Don't bag it. This makes the recycling process faster and more efficient. This is a look at the Republic Services North Florida Recycling Center. You can make this process even more efficient. By utilizing those 3 steps, Republic Services can help you become a better recycler in your home. Learn more at recyclingsimplified.com.
For the game day hustle and every day in between, juggling my show Jag Social to going under the Friday night lights and a social life, it's a daily tournament. But this ride, MVP status. The all-new 2024 Lincoln Nautilus isn't just my car, it's my personal locker room, office on the go, and VIP lounge on wheels. Let's talk tech. My profile remembers everything from customizing my dash display to setting the ambient lighting and my signature scent. And wireless charging, essential for live tweeting scores. Whether I'm packing for a beach day with friends or heading to the gym, there's space for every passion. After dominating all day, this becomes my recovery zone. The massage feature is like having a personal PT on call. Life's a non-stop game, but with this ride, I'm always on my A game. The 2024 Lincoln Nautilus. Drive your passion.
You trust CGC to make your water great, and now you can trust CGC with your plumbing needs as well. Fast, convenient scheduling, licensed and insured. A quick call away at 904-552-1242. You never know when you're going to have an issue with a shower, toilet, or maybe it's a sink that sometimes is easy to fix. All right, let's be honest. I'm not fixing anything. I'm totally staging this because when I have a plumbing problem, I call CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing. Trained professionals, transparent pricing, customer satisfaction. Small problem or even a bigger issue. Save 10% off any water heater, plus no trip charge. The experts with 25 years of experience at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing can do it all. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. For a limited time, CGC is waiving the trip charge on all related plumbing calls. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
If you look good, you feel good. And the medical professionals here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics are here to make you feel your best. I'm on camera every week, and I have a confession to make. I'm not always confident in my appearance. Can you see my dark circles? Is my makeup highlighting my fine lines instead of covering them up? I question it all. So when I found out about the wide variety of procedures here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics, I knew help was just one appointment away. Medical Director Dr. Megan Deacon Casey and her board-certified physicians have been using the latest in cutting-edge technology for the last 10 years, giving men and women their personal confidence boost. From Botox, fillers, Morpheus 8, and so much more. The hardest part was figuring out what I needed. Thankfully, the medical team walked me through what would work best for me through a free consultation. Come look and feel your best with the team here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics. Visit them at one of their 2 locations, either over in Ponte Vedra or on the south side.
Baker's Sports. It's a hometown business filled with hometown people trying to make you feel right at home.
Chris Conley, Jacksonville University.
Walker Wright, class of 2018, West Nassau High School.
Michael Young, Fletcher High School.
Baker's Sports started in a grassroots way and now outfits much of the Southeast.
Will Olive, Mandarin High School. Go Stangs.
High school sports, travel sports, youth sports of all kinds. They are a one-stop shop carrying Nike, Adidas, Under Armour brands, and more.
Vincent Caldes, Oakleaf High School.
Tony Mazzio, Sandwood High School, class of 2002.
Samuel Coffrin, Paxton School for Advanced Studies.
Whether it's sports teams on the field or it's your team in the workplace, like our Action Sports Jacks team, and community events like the Dream 18 Golf Tournament, and many others.
Cole Tilley, Hilliard High School.
Reagan Webb, Eagles View Academy.
Look good, feel good, play good with Baker Sports. Custom sports apparel since 1997. Shop with the hometown team at bakersport.com.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
Let's take a look at this guy a little bit more. Travis Hunter, look at him, getting the fans fired up. There were some big roars when he would do that. I mean, all eyes were on number 12, with all due respect to everybody else. Look, I mean, this is him. You know, and I mean, listen, it's not the first guy that's ever had fun out at a practice. I guess we're kind of making it that way or seem that way, but there's some significance to it. There's some significance to this, and then you see Cohen and Hunter interact. I thought actually one of the most underrated things about Saturday was seeing Cohen coach a little bit. The first time we've really experienced that. Now, he's been out there, but we haven't been out there for it. So there's a lot of eyeballs on a lot of different things, but a lot of eyeballs on that guy right there in Travis Hunter. As we welcome you back to the Brent and Austen Show, Brent Martineau. And we were bringing Casey Kurtz as well here on Monday, hopping in as Austin Lane's down in South Florida. He'll jump back in with us a little bit later on in the show. Kim's Corner, as we will rifle through the producers in the booth this week, including you, Casey Kurtz.
Yeah,
you'll be in there.
It's going to be busy.
Yeah.
Busy time.
Warm up that booth.
What a time to lose Nick.
Yeah,
rest in peace.
Nick's gone. That's it. He is
gone forever.
He is out.
We'll miss you, buddy.
Yes, we will. What do you make of the Travis Hunter stuff over the weekend?
It will never. I'll never understand. I guess the way to put it is people love practice, man.
They do. I don't.
Like
it is true.
Going back to when we were on radio, man, people love to talk about and want to watch practice, and it always just blows my mind. I get the appeal for this one practice because the first time you see it, and he's a special player, obviously. So, like, cool. But I kind of expect him to be good in practice. I'm not going to lie to you, Brent. If we expect him to be good in games, I think he should be like world class in practice.
Yeah, and we didn't break down the practice stuff. I'm not. It's more of especially in shorts. We don't do that. Once did probably, but we don't do that around here.
We've done that.
But now listen, training camp practices be a little bit different.
Sure.
But I think what's cool about it, and I kind of agree with you to a degree. I'm like, wow, I got 2,000 people out there. But there are a lot of people in Jacksonville, a lot of Jags fans.
2,000 people?
Yeah. So, and that's like sold out, really. I mean, that's what you can fit. I mean, I'm sure you could squeeze in some more, but that's about what those stands hold.
Mm-hmm.
And they were pretty full. So we'll get that out at camp. Like, I kind of get it because it's just a little taste. We talk about the Jags so much. There are a lot of diehard fans. It's a Saturday afternoon, fits pretty well. It's not like you skipped and took a day out of work for it.
Sure.
And now sitting under there is totally different than going to a camp practice and just like in the sweltering heat. So
it's a good idea.
Yeah, I get the glimpse of it. And I'm kind of glad they did it. It brought an energy and a kind of a little bit of a vibe. And a nice little welcome for those guys, too. Like, hey, welcome to Jacksonville. Now, you could get that in college, too. I mean, for a spring game, you can get that in college. So that part isn't going to be different. Hamby's Burner says, got my Prowler from the Pro Shop. I'm not really sure why our YouTube comments aren't showing up on our chat today. Don't they usually?
Yes, they usually do.
Yeah.
Something weird is going on because, like, what we were talking about before we came back in, it's delayed, the sound from wherever it's coming from, which means it's not
I don't know
straight.
if anybody else could hear the sound.
I don't think they can. But, like,
reverberated in here. It's coming off a computer. It took me an hour to figure it out.
It's not because that's not delayed. Like, it's somewhat significantly delayed. So
I don't know.
There's a debacle going on in here.
There is.
Back to the Jags thing real quick. Have they, I think you guys said this, but I can't remember. Have they ever opened rookie camp before?
Yeah, so the only time, not a lot. And I don't know if this is accurate. I just know I remember the Bortles one in 2014.
Okay, I thought I remember you saying
so I feel like that was the last time they did it. So I might be wrong about that, though. They might have done it.
10 years. Because they didn't do it for Trevor.
I don't think they did it for Trevor because that was right around, I was coming off pandemic time.
True.
So doing anything, we're still under kind of pandemic rules of some degree, I think, in the NFL.
Yeah.
So I don't think that they did it then. And the only other time I thought they could maybe do it would have been like 2016 or 17 because new regime, like first of all, you had Jalen Ramsey, Miles Jack, all those guys in 16. And then in 17, you had the new regime. So you had Coughlin coming back. But Coughlin's not the guy that's usually going to open it up.
Right. So does this fall into your like category of good optics for the new brass at this point? Like this just is another check in the right direction?
No brainer. Yeah, no brainer to do this and a good job by the organization. Because I will say this, I'll tell you behind the scenes, there's a lot that goes into opening up the place.
Oh, I'm sure.
Right? From a security, it's a costly endeavor, which you normally don't have to do or would do. And hey, listen, it's $1 billion league. I ain't feeling bad about them spending a little money. Just saying it might not even be a normal part of their budget to do it. And then you got to get a lot of people working this time of year on a Saturday that normally wouldn't. So, again, are those hard things? No. But
they're things.
They're not. Yeah, they're things. They're not just, let's open up the gates. So I think you have to have good discussions about this internally to be able to do it. But I think to go back to your point, Baselli, Gladstone, Cohen, they've got to also sign off on this too.
Sure.
And there was this balance that they were around 10. I mean, it was like this morning on Saturday morning in terms of the rain. And they had to think about do we call this off? And they kind of kept it open. And that's a tough decision, right? Because by 1 o'clock or 1:30, if it works out the way it does and you had canceled it, you're like, well, what the hell? We could be out there watching.
Right.
But if they were going to go into the indoor, well, then they would have canceled it because there's no room for the fans on the indoor. So there's a lot that goes into it, so I appreciate that.
So, do you think this is pretty much solely because of the Travis Hunter thing?
Yes.
Or do you – okay, then yeah. Because I would imagine it would not be the world's greatest look if you had fans out there when you picked Mason Graham and bro was out there throwing up. He was in Cleveland, and the fans are like, "Oh no, this is not good." So this is a Travis.
I saw some images of that, and I'm not going to get caught into the fact of, hey, glad they didn't pick him. But there is kind of this optic standpoint, right? Of like,
not the world's greatest look.
I mean, the optics on the Cleveland Browns just continue to never look great.
Yeah, and it's not. Yeah, I mean the bad weekend because you got your first round pick throwing up because you can't.
It would have really been thrown up down here in the heat.
Oh, my gosh. It would not have been good. And then you've got the quarterback debacle. And, I don't feel bad for the Browns because, I'm not a feel bad type of guy. Kevin Stefanski, though. I kind of feel bad for that guy because, he's trying to run a team here. He's got his quarterback major debacle. His starting quarterback is 1 hurt and 2 no good. Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco, he's giving Dylan Gabriel reps, and the media is like, why is Dylan Gabriel playing? He's like, we picked him. I don't know what to tell you.
You got the one reporter coming off saying, I'm taller than him. Did you hear that?
Yes. Just what an absolute... Kevin Stefanski had to, go home after rookie camp and was like, what did I... this is bad. I shouldn't have to deal with this as a coach of the year. Like, this is just
a two-time coach of the year.
Two-time coach of the year. Like, it is bad. And again, I don't feel bad for Cleveland, but Stefanski, like, part of him's got to be like, if they let me go, it couldn't be the worst thing that could happen. Like, someone else, I could pull the Vrabel, take a year off, go down, play golf, do whatever, and then get hired by some team because Cleveland it's messy.
And now, or Shedeur Sanders apparently looked pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, from the video that I saw the same thing you saw.
You're in shorts, right?
In fairness, were they going to put out any? Would there be video out there if he was bad?
Yeah, because they didn't open it up. So how'd they get video? Oh, it was just media out there that had the fans of. Had the video.
I think the Browns.
But media,
put up
if he
some
looked
stuff.
bad, media would have seen it.
Fair.
Most likely.
I think the Browns put up a couple of things, but I mean, yeah, it's just it's a weird situation. Be happy you're not Cleveland. The Jags are definitely. Now they got to win football games. Of course, both teams haven't won yet, but it feels like they're distancing themselves from that group, if you will, the Cleveland group. Because they've been in that group.
Yeah, that's true. Nasser Premier says, love how Cohen is so transparent. It goes a long way. I couldn't agree more, man. I'll probably say that too much about this regime. Well, hopefully it will continue. But I do think it's a refreshing thing. I think the whole organization I think they're living it right now. They're preaching it. They're practicing it. And let's see what else we got. I heard there was a John Gruden and Seth Hennigan, the quarterback thing on YouTube. I haven't seen it.
Oh.
Did you see it?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I didn't see it either. Again, I didn't really watch or pay attention to anybody else other than Travis Hunter on Saturday.
That's fair.
Well, actually, I did. A couple of times I looked over at Milam and Tuten as well. We're going to hear from Tuten in just a bit because we knew we were getting him, who, by the way, looks the part as well. Looks the part.
In short.
Most of the time you look the part this time of year.
That's fair.
And if you make it to the NFL. I always wondered, Daniel says, I wonder if Doug had heard Brent repeatedly say that he didn't get the X's and O's, was just trying to be cheeky. I think he's talking about that whole you don't understand thing. I think there was something in there. Let's see what we got. Oh, it's the first nibble back at Jaguars football. It's all we got from the fan standpoint. So, yeah, I kind of get it.
Sure.
I kind of get going there. And then Randy says Seth might be a better quarterback than Trevor.
I don't think so.
Here we go. That's what you can get coming. He was kidding, I think.
I'm gonna keep it a buck. If I would have got here and you would have been like, who was playing quarterback for the Jags on Saturday, I would not have had it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know who you
Well, if you brought that trivia question, I might have had to cheat and look it up too.
I have no clue. Like, you just said he did QB camp with Green. I'm like, I don't know who this human is.
Yeah, I heard that. Somebody said something
Seth?
about it, and I hadn't clicked on it either.
Where did he play college football?
No idea.
Okay, cool. Good. Yeah. Well, listen, it doesn't matter. Like, I mean, I'm not going to, I didn't mean to put you on the spot there for a second, but.
Memphis.
Memphis.
Yeah, he played, and somebody had reference, he played against FSU. And remember, they beat him.
Oh, yeah.
Beat FSU this year.
Is that still, is Memphis' coach still from here? Silverfield? Is that still him?
I don't know if he's still the coach.
He took over for Norvell.
Yeah, he was, but has he moved on? He might still be the guy.
Yeah, it feels
might still be the guy. I don't feel like they've had a coaching change there.
No.
They've been pretty good.
Yeah, but I'm not, not locked into the
Memphis football.
That'd be wild if Norvell got fired at Florida State before his replacement got fired at Memphis. It just feels like something that shouldn't happen.
That would be wild. Speaking of, Norvell and Luke Laux will be in Jacksonville this week on Wednesday. They are doing a little bit of a booster tour. So if you can check out the Florida State Seminoles website. I don't know exactly how to get information, but if you wanted to do that, I think it's around 6 o'clock, the event on Wednesday night. I have no idea how many people they let in, but it's there are 2 stops where Laux is coming with Norvell, and Jacksonville's one of them this week.
Not that I was planning to talk about this, but, and I'm not saying the Gators don't do this, and I don't know if they did this with Jimbo, but it feels like Norvell specifically has been really good about going everywhere. Like, it feels like every offseason he's doing camps in all these places.
Yeah, I agree with that.
He's talking in all these places. Like, I think they really get that part of it.
I think they get a lot of it. I think he does a good job with that. I also think, if I'm not mistaken, well, he got here, right after the pandemic or during the pandemic? Or
yeah.
Right after. I think right after.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think you started to see them kind of reach out and branch out and start traveling around once you could. Kind of that reach out and touch the fans a little bit more. If I remember shortly after that, and he helped spearhead that. And, of course, at that time, you're trying to rally everybody.
Right.
Right? Because things aren't great. And I think it looks like he's kept that. he continues to do that. And by the way, this isn't the easiest year to do that stuff coming off a 2-win season. 2 wins? Isn't that what they had?
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Gosh, that's nuts.
Cal and somebody irrelevant, I think.
That seems crazy.
That's bad. But good for him. I mean, you do what you got to do. Because not every coach is doing that.
No. Yeah, I appreciate that. All right. Hey, let's. I want to play Bashal Tuten, who people are excited about.
Sure.
What's your view on it? ETN, Bigsby, Tuten. They obviously wanted running back. I continue to say that. Genty was going to be the guy. If not, R.J. Harvey was going to be the guy. It turns out Tuten was the guy in the 4th round. Now, how excited can you get over a 4th round pick? How much can that guy play right away? I think those are questions that you should wait and see. But there's no doubt they want to elevate and upgrade that room. And I think when you had running back in your eyesight for 3 out of the 4 rounds, and you end up picking a guy, it's got to put your current backs on notice to a degree.
Yeah. Real quick, where did they think they were going to get Harvey? Did Michael Silver say anything about that? Like, do you know where they thought they were going to pick Harvey if they did?
Yeah, it would have been at 70. Because they had that 3rd round pick, and then Denver picked them at 60.
Okay.
And then I think once Denver picked them, that prompted the Jags to move back in that trade with, I think, the Lions.
So I think that still tells you your answer, and that's how I see it. Like, I think he's going to play. Like, I don't want to say significantly, but, like, I think he's very much a part of it. If you were committed to taking running back earlier than you did, and a different human, obviously, I think that tells you that they have plans for other human beings to play the running back position. And I would guess more so looking at Travis Etienne. So, I mean, I think he's involved. I think it's hard to get 3 running backs carry, so which one's going to fall off? But I think, in a weird way, Tank Bigsby's like the safe one here because he just does something that the other 2 don't. Like, he can run through you, basically. Or at least the thought is he can run through you. So he's a guy that feels like his job description, in my opinion, feels like one that you know what you're going to get, and he feels safe, I think.
Yeah. Well, and ETN's on his last year of his deal.
Right. ETN's probably the one that's in some trouble here, and, I guess we'll see. Still talented player, but, it is the running back position.
Can they use all 3? Who uses 3? Because we see 2 a lot.
Who uses 3?
But can they get enough out of all 3 of these guys? Or are they going to turn, say, a guy, like, I don't even know if ETN's good enough at it, but, I mean, into a 3rd round back because you go catch it in the backfield. Like, Bigsby's not a pass catcher, and Tuten probably would be able to do it, but my guess is ETN's better at it. So, I don't know. Like, Detroit obviously has used 2 for years now.
Dolphins use 2.
The Dolphins used 2. But even then, it seemed like when Mostert was playing well, was Achane playing enough?
Falcons used 2 pretty heavy. Or not as much anymore. But
yeah, but they did early on, right?
Algier plays a lot.
But who uses 3 is the question. Like, people can use 2. So somebody's going to be disappointed in their workload.
Yes.
If it's a veteran. Now, if you could see the rookie, if he's the 3rd one, then okay, that makes some sense.
It feels like if someone's going to be disappointed in their workload, it feels like ETN, no?
Yes, that's what it feels like.
Yeah, because I feel like Tuten would be thrilled just to get carries. I feel like Bigsby is going to get carries, and then where does that leave Travis Etienne? But in fairness to Liam Cohen, like, he figured it out last year. Like, they had a plan for Bucky Irvin. He came in, he did his thing, and then he became a starter. So, like, Rashad White got his touches, but again, that's only 2.
Did Rashad White get his touches toward the end of the year?
No, early.
Early did.
But Bucky Irvin turned out to be really good.
Yeah, once that transition takes place, right? He won the job from him.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I mean, role.
They think Tuten's good right now. They don't know that. Like, in the same way that Liam Cohen thought Bucky Irving was going to be good. Turns out he was right, and he was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If he wasn't as good, I bet Rashad White would have had a lot more touches towards the end of the year.
No, that's true. I thought it was one of the mistakes of last year. And I don't think it's talked about enough because there were probably a lot of mistakes last year.
They did use 3 a little bit because they had Sean Tucker. I don't know how many carries he got, but I know he played a little bit.
Yeah. And again, I think it's hard to use. I'm not talking, by the way, 3 guys getting between 700 and 900 yards. I know that's not how it works, but can they keep people happy? And because that's part of it in this world. Can they keep them confident? Can they keep them ready? And I really thought it was one of the misses of last year's regime that probably didn't get talked about enough because there are enough things going on. But I think it really put Press Taylor and Doug Peterson in a pickle when Tank Bigsby started the year and he would have 4 touches against Miami. And remember those runs off the goal line that Bigsby had that were huge for like 20 yards and 22 yards. And, you looked up and he had 4 carries for 50-something yards or something like that.
Right.
And over the first few weeks, it was like, okay, he's earning some time here. He's running really well. And then you had, I don't know when it was, but maybe it was week 4, 5, 6, somewhere in there. People are like, he's the better runner. Yep. He's running better than ETN. But you're like, well, ETN has done this. Look at the resume. How do we take that off the field? Well, then both guys get hurt at one time or another. So my point is, I don't think they could ever figure it out. I don't think they could ever figure out who was their top back.
Right.
Or did they want to admit their top back? Because I'll say one other thing. Remember when ETN, I think, did he miss the second London game or the first London game or one of them? And he was asked by a London reporter something about, hey, is Tank Bigsby your number one back? He's like, I don't believe in losing your job because of injury.
Right.
About ETN. And so, again, there was never a, hey, we're all on the same page about it's Bigsby's time. Whereas I would say in Tampa, they said, it's Bucky Irving's time.
So, yeah, it's kind of interesting because it looks like, and again, math not a strong suit around here, so I'm just going to ballpark it, if you will. Bucky Irving had, and if you guys have done this, my bad, 250 touches, if you will, 207 carries, 47 receptions. Rashad White had 200 touches or so, 144 carries, 51 catches. And then, where'd he go? Sean Tucker had 60 touches, 50 carries, about 10 catches. So, that's what, if you're going to use 3, that's kind of what you expect. The third guy's going to have 50, 60 touches. But, Sean Tucker played in 17 games last year. So, Liam Cohen had 3 running backs and used them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And by the way, Baker Mayfield had 60-something carries.
Did he really run the ball that much?
Yeah. Kneels and stuff included.
Well, I guess, yeah.
But still, that's a significant amount for quarterback.
I think Coach Rip just said, the staff's going to ride the hot hand or find the best player. And again, I would just say I think that's easier said than done. I think when that comes, right, and especially at the running back position, because some people just need more carries to get juiced up. That's a real thing. We saw that with Maurice Jones-Drew. When you get to that 18, 19, 20th carry, that was different than maybe 10 or 11, 12. Well, are you willing to get to that point? Now, Rip also says they're going to be more committed to the run. I would say, yes, you're probably right there. Connor says, my prediction is both ETN and Bigsby have huge bounce back years. If they do that, if they get the opportunity to do that, that means Tuten would be a little bit less used.
Which would be okay
probably
if the other two are real good.
That's right.
Or
That's
having
good
huge bounce back years, yeah.
Yeah, I go back to Cohen. I don't think he dislikes his running backs that he's inheriting.
No.
But I also think their willingness to go get a running back, and in each of 3 out of the 4 rounds they were targeting people, shows that they feel like they can do more there too.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's a plan for next year as well. Right?
Both guys have that background, right? Liam Cohen, that you guys talk about a lot. I don't know how much you've talked about this, but the Rams drafted a running back last year, knowing that they had Kyron Williams be very good for them the year before they drafted Corum.
Yeah.
So
True.
they're both in that. That's what they do.
Well, and I think that's what I like about this regime. They say, hey, we want to run the ball. They go they free agency get linemen.
Mm-hmm.
They draft another lineman pretty high. And then they draft a running back and said, okay, we're going to run the ball. And they bring in, by the way, they got rid of Ingram in part because of that. Say, hey, we're going to go to this style at the tight end position so we can run the ball, whether it's with Brent Strange or the other 2 veterans they brought in. Mm-hmm. So, again, I come back to you're practicing what you're preaching.
Yeah. And to the point you made a second ago, if Liam Cohen didn't like Travis Etienne, you said you think he likes the running backs he inherited. If they didn't like him, he wouldn't be here.
Yeah, fair enough.
Right?
Fair enough. They could have dangled him. Maybe they did dangle him, but they could have got rid of him.
He feels like a guy, and I'm glad they didn't do this because I still think he has value, but he feels like a guy, if you wanted to get off of him, you could get off him pretty easy during the draft because he's a guy that I feel like other teams would see and be like, this guy can play for us right now.
What's interesting is if they had got Genty, if they stayed and got Genty, would that have happened?
That's probably a different conversation.
Right.
Because if you're picking running back that high, he has to play.
What's also fascinating is the way the draft turned out is they could have got Genty and Tuten.
That'd be wild.
if they had gotten rid of ETN, right? So you rebuild the running back room just like that. Like that would have been fascinating. Hey, here's the deal. We had a chance to catch up with Tuten. Bashal is not really hard to say.
No, Bashal. No.
Like if you look at his name, you're like, oh, okay, how do we say this? Because it's not a normal John or whatever.
It's not John.
But it's really not that hard to say. But I found it fascinating that when we met Bashal Tuten, he introduced himself as Tuten.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like to Marcel and me, he was like Tuten, and I heard him say Tuten, so he doesn't even try the Bashal thing.
That's interesting.
Isn't that wild?
Is there something more to that, or that's just do you know anything more? Or that's
I don't. I just assume that he probably goes by that one because it's kind of a fun name. Tuten is a fun name, and two, it's like okay, I'm not going to mess around with you trying to pronounce my name, spell my name, whatever, all this stuff. Just call me Tuten.
How often do you like? Is this one-on-one that you got him?
Oh yeah, I mean, there were a couple of reporters that ended up coming over. It was mostly
how many players have introduced themselves to you
over the years?
Yes,
a lot.
Has that ever happened before?
No, not
Never
that I remember.
Once.
That's why it stuck out to me.
That's wild.
Yeah,
because it's not. You're right. It's like
now I say never, but you got me now
sure.
thinking right.
No.
I don't think I can remember.
There's not another one that's like
think of a guy that we've had in Jacksonville. Maybe had a nickname that you would have been. Maybe he introduced. I feel
Tank.
like. Nah, it wasn't Tank, but I do feel like I feel like at one time or another in my head, and I can't place it, that somebody's introduced me as their nickname. But I just don't know who. Or it might be an abbreviate, like a shortened, their last name, right? Maybe their last name is really difficult. And so, instead of Martineau, they call him Marty, right? Like they just, that's because that's what people call him.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was it. So,
interesting.
But the Tuten thing was interesting, and it may have never happened before. I feel like it might have happened a little bit at times. I didn't introduce myself to Big John Henderson.
How crazy would that have
John.
been if Bro just walked up and was like, hi, Big. Yeah, we know.
I think he would go with Big John.
We know.
How do wrestlers introduce themselves?
It's usually character name, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, or ring name, whatever.
Yeah.
But that's like...
But the Tuten thing was kind of interesting, again, because like the Bashal is not hard to say.
It's not that difficult.
It's kind of a cool name. It's a cool name. But...
Like, what is the other
It's not tricky, but we've had like Alu Alu, who was tough to say, right? Or people couldn't figure out in town. But I just think it was Tuten, and it wasn't just to me, it was to Marcel too.
Like
and so I'm guessing everywhere in that building, he's introduced himself as Tuten. I wonder when he first met Coach Cohen, if he introduced himself as Bashal or Tuten. I'll find out.
That's a good.
Now I'm interested.
That'd be interesting.
All right, here's our conversation with the guy who calls himself Tuten.
Well, how is this? First couple of days, feels like a freshman all over again, probably.
Coming out here, new environment, it was, fun playing around, new teammates and, getting the feel of, the NFL league now. Like I said, it was all fun. I was having fun out here, learning new playbooks and stuff like that. And just, competing. I think I liked it and, excited to see where the future go.
What's your mentality when you walk into something like this and it's very early in a couple of days, but trying to make a first impression?
Just put my best foot forward, go out there and be the best person I could be on and off the field, and show the coaches, my skill set and what I bring to the team.
Do you have to pace yourself a little bit, considering you haven't played football in a bit, to go from 0 to 60 too fast?
No, it's just a field thing. I've been playing football for a long time, so I know my body, I know my limits, and I also know how to push myself. So I don't, try to take the, pump the brakes a little bit to preserve myself for later in practice. I try to, go hard because at the end of the day, as I practice, I condition as well. So I kind of get, dual working with that, pushing myself, and it's conditioning me as well.
Speaking of 0 to 60, your speed's translated at every level. Are you at all curious how it looks and translates in the NFL?
Not really, worried about it. I know I'm fast. The people know I'm fast, so just got to go out there and play football. I get a gaping hole, I can hit it. So we'll see, when season roll around, how far I can break and how many times I can break away from a defense.
Could you feel the fans today?
Yeah, I surely did. I came out and they were, going crazy. So just seeing them out here at practice, I can already get a sneak peek of, how a season's going to be. So I'm excited to, experience that, and I'm loving it.
I know he's another player, but is there intrigue in seeing Travis work after hearing all about him over these last couple of years across college football?
He's definitely a hard worker. Past 2 days out here, just being in the building, definitely a hard worker. And that goes with how this team is so far. All the rookies they brought in, they all work hard. We all work hard. But like I said, he's a hard worker. He's dedicated, and you can tell.
Can you see that personality already?
Yeah, you can see it dancing around and all that kind of stuff. So he brings a level of, enthusiasm to the team, and we like that.
I noticed there was a rep out here where you dropped the ball, and then the very next rep, you made sure to catch it even going down to the ground, which is probably not what your coaches want to see. Why was it so important for you to make sure you reeled in that second one?
Because, I'm a running back. I don't, normally don't like to drop balls. It's not in my description. I try to keep that away from me. So, I drop the ball as football as happens. You just got to lock in on the details for the next one. Like you said, I caught the next one, fell, got to, get up and finish. Just, keeping an eye to the tuck and clamping it. Just, no one likes to make mistakes. So when you make the mistake, you figure out how you did it and, you correct it.
Is that kind of a snapshot into your personality where, like, no matter what happens before the rep before, you're going to make sure every rep you're giving it your all?
Yeah, I like to go by a little phrase called circle over snap. No matter how good or bad the play was before, you're on to the next play and, make that play your best play.
I know you mentioned your speed when you got drafted. Has anybody challenged you out here? Y'all going to set up a race?
Not yet. We'll see if that comes.
Are you interested in meeting anybody when the veterans come? I mean, is there somebody that's on this roster that you're like, hey, it'd be kind of cool, I'd watch them on TV or whatever else, or does that matter to you?
I'm looking forward to meeting all the guys, the full roster. We got a lot of vets that I see on TV, I grew up watching, so just excited for that portion, but I would love to pick Etienne's brain. He's a running back in this, in this league, and just pick his brain about some ways to get about this system and some tips and tricks that can help me evolve my game. So that's what I'm looking forward to the most.
How much of a sponge do you have to be with those guys in the room that have been around this thing?
You got to be a huge sponge. Everything they say, you want to, take note of it, listen to it, and just soak it all up. Like, they've been in the league for multiple years. They've been in this offense. So they know what they're talking about. You just got to, just take back from what they say and, write it down and remember it.
Are you still on a high from the draft, or is it kind of like it feels like a year ago now?
It feels like a year ago now. I had got drafted, had a good combine, all that kind of stuff, but back to football now, fresh start. I'm just ready to put my head down and work again.
To kind of circle back to the pass catching, that's something that Liam, Coach Cohen, is really known for, just being the back. How excited are you to be able to show that aspect of your game, catching the ball on the backfield?
Very excited because I know it can help the team in multiple ways. I'm a running back that just doesn't only run the ball. I can get back there on special teams, catch kicks. I can, split out and run routes out the backfield and catch and be productive that way as well. So I think my skill set works best for the team, and I'm just excited to go out there and show that, coming Sundays.
Sorry if you've already answered this, but just what's the past 2 days been like? What's been the most surprising thing about the Jaguars working minicamp?
The past 2 days been amazing. I'm a college football player before, but bumping it up to the league, you'll see the difference in practice. But just being around a lot of high-level guys, getting to know them is what I've been most excited about. But I think the most surprising thing was the heat for me. I'm from up north, so it's kind of different down here, the humidity and all that kind of stuff. So that's something I'm looking forward to, getting used to and acclimated to.
You never get used to it. You never get used.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck. I think you do get used to it, but maybe some people don't.
If bro's warm now, imagine how he's going to feel in training camp.
Yeah, he's from Jersey, by the way. Obviously, he played at North Carolina A&T and Virginia Tech, and that's a real deal. Like, it's interesting to hear him say that, and I almost don't know if I love hearing him saying that. Oof, like that really hit him. Mm-hmm. But again, he'll get used to it and get acclimated to it. But you take him and Travis Hunter are like, oh, it's awesome being back here in the heat. It felt like I was a kid again, where he grew up in West Palm, right? So he's not the only one that's going to have to get used to the heat.
What's interesting about that I caught was, you asked him, like, who does he want to meet? And I just think it's funny, like, in any job, if you, like, have to train somebody that's, like, eventually going to replace you. When you were like, hey, can you train Hamby? I was like, no. But, like, I was pissed about that, right? So then you're like, hey, who do you want to meet? He's like, oh, I'd love to pick Etienne's brain and, like, see how it works. I just, like, it goes back to, like, Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers. It goes back to Aaron Rodgers, Zach Wilson. Like, you're, like, training the guy how to take your job. It's a wild thing, and I guess it happens in every walk of life, but it's just, I don't know, it's funny because like he has like all the hype in the world. He's like, yeah, I really want to meet him and like learn stuff because like he respects him.
Yeah.
ETN's probably like, man, just hit the hole, dog. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, go run that way. That's the other way.
Yeah, just go over there.
It's a great. I'll answer this question from Connor and then get back to that. Did you get a chance to follow up with him on what Cohen said after the drop? And I didn't. I mean, we just kind of went our way after that. So no, I did not do that. But there was coaching going on. Again, I brought this up earlier. I think one of the fascinating things about Cohen or about Saturday was Cohen, and him taking the time with a guy like Tuten, taking the time with Hunter. And I think maybe there's some importance to the rookie minicamp to get a little one-on-one time with these guys before you get everybody together, because then your focus shifts to Trevor and some of the veterans, as well. And there's just too many guys to talk to at a given practice. So I think there's a balance there. But no, to answer your question, I didn't know exactly what he was saying to him. I do find it fascinating in this sport and in professional sports what you just said. It is not human nature if somebody comes into our world. Now, sometimes you have to do it anyway, but it's not human nature to want to do that, to train somebody else, to eventually maybe take your job.
It is not.
I do think there's admiration in being able to do it, right? To have confidence in your abilities, if you will, to be like, first of all, I'm going to be better than this guy, and I don't mind bringing them along. And secondly, if they go and choose a different direction because I make too much money or they want to get younger or whatever else, I'll go find another place. So I think that comes with the territory, but it really comes down to the quarterback room for me. It's one of the most fascinating just meeting rooms I think that exists in the world, because you got two or three guys, usually three guys in there, and they all know there's only one guy playing. Yeah. At least in the defensive line room or the running back room, there's a chance you get on the field in special teams or other areas. You can stay locked in. Like when you're Nick Mullins, you're coming to Jacksonville with the idea that you never play a snap other than the preseason. And you have to be locked in. You also, by the way, have to get there at 5 a.m. with the quarterback and stay until 8 o'clock. You got to work this long-ass day.
Fine.
I know you're getting paid. I'm just saying.
I know.
You've got to accept that. And to accept that and be these guys that have made it to this level and be ready when your number is called to get your opportunity.
Yes.
I mean, that's the most unique room and meeting room, like I said, in the world.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I think it would be super difficult, and we saw it with Minshew. I think it would be super difficult the first time that you're not the starter.
Okay, yeah.
Like when Minshew lost his job to Trevor, like we talked about that a lot. Like what was that going to be like because Minshew had played? But then like if you go to Nick Mullins now, like Nick Mullins has played.
Yep.
Nick Mullins has won a couple of football games, and but for the most part, I think you got to be like, all right, I'm not Trevor Lawrence. So like I think there's like a weird point, and I bet that year when you still are like, I should be this guy, or heck, if you're like Minshew now and you weren't starting, like you'd be like, I can play. I know I can. I've done it.
Yeah.
So like that transition's probably hard. But now if you're Nick Mullins, I feel like you got to be like, this is the greatest gig.
You do settle into that
in the history, but right away, or you like have to like the Browns is probably a mess because Kenny Pickett probably thinks he can play.
Yep.
Joe Flacco's probably chilling, to be honest with you.
He is, but he knows he's better than all these clowns.
Yeah, but he's done. Yeah, for sure. There's no doubt about that.
Even at 40.
But like he's done it enough where I bet he's like, okay, it's chill. And then you've got the two rookies who think they can play and have no idea, don't know it. Like that's got to be a debacle, weirdest room in America.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
But I feel like Nick Mullins, you got to be like, it's a good gig because backup quarterback, once you accept your role, greatest gig in the history of the world.
It's true. And by the way, the guy that did that and did it very well, that I knew pretty decent, is Chad Henne.
Yeah, it's
like Chad Henne. He had his chances and he knew it, and so you come to this realization. And by the way, we all do. Like I remember coming to this realization. Like I was pissed when my junior year I played pretty well in baseball. My senior year I got like 2 at bats in spring training for like over 12 games, and I was like, what the hell? I didn't even get a chance.
There you go.
But then halfway through, like we're winning and stuff. You kind of like come to the realization. Okay, well I'm not probably playing a lot. Like I might get an at bat here or there, but I'm not playing a lot. So I think you do come to the realization, like your role. But I'll give you another example. Like And Minshew's an interesting one because Minshew's numbers are pretty good. Plus, he's got a pissiness to him to begin with.
Right.
And then on top of that, like, what about the room that you just don't like the guy? Like, you have to assume that you like all these guys in that quarterback room. Defensive line room, you can have a guy or two that you don't like. There's enough. But you're spending every day for 10, 12 hours a day trying to help this guy get better that you might not like.
Yeah.
Bring back your Cleveland stuff, right? Deshaun Watson, you may not have a respect after all this stuff, and you've got to pretend like you do.
Yeah.
That's tough.
No, definitely.
Totally different than being the backup quarterback to Tom Brady, where you're like, hey, I'm hanging out with the greatest. Or Henny, who says, I'm hanging out with Patrick Mahomes right now. This is fun to watch, and I know he's better than me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. But like
when Manziel was the quarterback.
Probably not great.
Like, man, what you have to swallow, the pride and everything else to be in that room. And I think you can argue that was part of the reason Minshew left.
Yeah.
Like, either asked for it or got out because they're like, this ain't going to work.
No.
He's not the guy that we need, with Trevor here.
Yeah.
Right?
I think you're right. It's such an interesting dynamic because, like, you just don't like everybody. You know what I mean? And I think that's probably the same in, like, a lot of other rooms, but it's just not as, like, if the corners don't like each other, we're probably going to get through that.
Well, yeah, you can sit in each corner of the room.
We're on other sides of the field. Like, we don't even need to talk to each other. And, to be honest, there's probably an argument that it's better is probably not the right word. But it would be intriguing if your corners, like, really didn't like each other because they'd be trying to one-up each other. That might actually be the best thing. But, like, when you talk about the quarterback room, I also go to the Saints after the Derek Carr thing. Like, you want to talk about a mess of a quarterback room for a different reason. Like, they might not like each other, whatever, but whatever the kid's name they just drafted is, he's in there. He's like, all right, like, I'm older than you guys. And Spencer Rattler's like, well, I think I can play. Jake Hayner's like, I can play.
That's a good one.
Like, that's got to be a mess,
All
too.
three of those guys think they have a chance at it.
They don't know that whether they can or cannot. They don't know yet that they can't in the NFL.
Yeah.
So you might as well think that you can, and that's messy. So.
It's wild. Like, I don't know if I should look this up because I know I've talked about it in the past. I don't know if a story's ever been done. But again, like, hey, Mike Silver, I got a story idea for you.
Saints quarterback room. Or no, Browns quarterback room.
Yeah, or you could really go back. Like, again, you have contact with, you can go back to the Elway days. You can go back to the Manning days. So you can get, like, you could really get some stories. Or will it be what stays in, happens in the locker room stays in the locker room type of deal? But, man, those backup quarterbacks have stories for days. They could write books.
Oh, dude, I think the best, which is not well documented, but I think everybody's on the same page here, like, if Jordan Love ever talked about it, because that would be wild. Because I don't get the impression that Rodgers, as a person, didn't like Jordan Love. He didn't like the situation.
Yep.
He then won multiple MVPs, so Love had no argument. Love was what was that like? Like, that just had to be, or whoever the third quarterback was in that room, if that dude wrote a book, that would be fascinating.
There are quarterback books, and I don't think I've read them. I'm trying to think of the one that comes to, like, John Feinstein, actually the late John Feinstein. I knew this. He had written a quarterback book. But let's see, it says, takes readers inside their unique experience of playing the position, holding the keys to multi-billion-dollar teams. So it feels like it's more those frontline guys. Mm-hmm. But I think it would be fascinating to hear from the back. You actually could do the book alone on Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love.
Oh, yeah.
Like, get the whole because you got 4 years of Rodgers doing it, if you could get him to talk, and Love doing it. But again, I think it's deeper than that. I think you could do it from all over the league. Somebody would talk.
Chad Henne would actually be an interesting one.
Yeah, Henne would be fascinating.
Blaine Gabbert. Where did Blaine Gabbert go right after the Jags?
They traded him to San Fran.
Who was their quarterback? Do you remember any of this? Like, I think that could be fascinating.
It would have been Jimmy G.
Really? It was already that point?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, you actually reminded me of something. I've got, I think I bookmarked this. Hopefully I did. When we come back, I'm going to give you, I'm going to share this with the group. So if I shared it with the group, I can't give it to you. I'll do my own little trivia about who in the 2014 draft class, now that Derek Carr is retired, how much money those guys made. I'm going to give you the names. Okay. Some of the names you won't even remember, of course. But yeah, Connor says Bledsoe, Brady, and by the way, there are more stories about the Bledsoe Brady one.
Jimmy G Brady would be interesting too.
And Jimmy G, all right. But there are stories now about the Bledsoe Bledsoe has been very outspoken, like not very, but he's shed some light on that, and he also shed, I think, light on, if I've got it correct, like his admiration for Brady too, but also like how that wasn't cool during that time.
Sure.
And so that's refreshing to hear because it couldn't have been.
Right.
And again, none of this is blank. It would probably have to be a book of like just like 30 different stories about rooms in the NFL because they're all different. There's no blanket answer to this. But you're right. I think Chad Henne would be good. And the reason, I don't know if I ever finished a statement on Henne. Henne, sooner or later, understood, okay, I didn't get it done. He had a chance with Miami as a starter, had a chance in Jacksonville with a starter.
Yes.
And so sooner or later, you come to the realization, like, all right, well, I missed my chance. Like, and will Minshew come up with that? He had a chance in Jacksonville. Didn't really have a chance necessarily in Philly, but he had a couple of games, and I think they ended up losing those games. He was just okay, but that wasn't a chance.
You kind of make the argument he didn't have the chance in Jacksonville. I know he played, but was that team?
Well, he had the year though. I mean, he had the early going that year, then ended up getting hurt. But I mean, he had like 7 or 8 games before they were 1 and whatever, right?
That team wasn't talented.
It wasn't, but he had. I mean, but he had the reins. Same with Indianapolis, right? He got
fair. That's definitely fair. But listen. Minshew definitely got some run here,
and then the Raiders.
I'm not saying he didn't, but like. Once you knew that team was going to be picking first or second, there was no shot. Like you had run, but you didn't.
Well, that's the other story. That's the other book that needs to come out is why didn't he play when his hand was healthy? How hurt was the hand? Like whose decision was that? Like there are different things that come out of that whole Marone, Coughlin, Minshew thing. Like there's some fascination in that part of the story, right? Because of where they ended up situationally. Could he have played instead of Jake Luton against Green Bay? I think absolutely is the answer, I would have to say. By that time, I think it was in December. But, in fairness, not too many guys get as many cracks as a starting job as actually Minshew did.
Sure.
Jacksonville, Indy, that was short-lived too, and then the Raiders. For a guy who was a 6th-round pick, he got a few cracks at a starting job.
Yeah, and this is going to...
They're not the ideal ones.
No.
But he did get a cracks at it.
And this is going to sound disrespectful, and I don't mean it that way, but it's similar to, like, guys in baseball that you would say they're 4A players. Like, they play in the majors, they're just okay, they're not that good, but they go to AAA and they mash.
Yeah.
Like, that's right where Minshew, like, to me, Minshew's like, if Minshew had to play a game for, and when I say us, I don't mean the Jags, I mean any team. Like, if you could have Minshew play because your guy has to sit, you gotta, like, you could do so much worse.
You got a fighter's chance to win a game. Absolutely.
But also, if you need to win 12 games.
Probably not happening.
Yeah. So it's an interesting.
Who I think becomes the ideal backup. I've always said this.
If he accepted his role, back to that.
Yeah, if he accepts his role, I think he's the ideal backup because in a 4-game sample, as use a 4-game sample, you go 2-2.
You feel good about that?
I feel good about Minshew going 2-2. You felt good about Nick Foles going 2-2.
Definitely.
Didn't feel good about him probably winning 12 games outside of the 1 year.
Yes.
Well, he didn't win 12 games, actually. He won when he had to win.
Yes.
Down the stretch. So, yeah, I think Henne was that too. I mean, look, Henne made a huge play and a huge drive when needed in that game against the Jags.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I do know.
And because he had a lot of experience, that wasn't too big of a moment for him. Almost any other backup quarterback would fizzle in that.
Yeah.
Now, Foye Oluokun should have picked the ball off.
Sure.
And it could have ended that way. That's the play, in my opinion, that is the least talked about play in recent Jags history. Everybody will talk about 3rd and 17.
Yeah, sure.
Forever.
Yes, correct.
Right? Or I think there are multiple plays. Miles Jack isn't down. I think there was a delay of game in the second, late in the first half.
Yeah.
Or was it the second half? In that Patriots game that got called, and they're like, what the hell? That doesn't get called if it's the Patriots. And they had a first down to Mercedes Lewis, by the way, on the play.
That's right. That was
so,
terrible.
like, there are multiple plays in that game. The play that does not get talked about enough. People will talk about the Jamal Agnew play, right? Because it's the same game. Played Kansas City so many times in a small span that I get confused. But everybody will talk about Jamal Agnew, and they get off the Jamal Agnew train because he fumbles
on the goal line
late, and they still needed a little help
they had to score again.
Point,
yeah,
right? They still had to
yeah.
score again, but there was time. But very few people talk about that play over the middle where Foye Oluokun and I think Tyson Campbell kind of converged, and that's a pick.
Yeah.
Like, that's maybe a pick 6.
No, yeah, I think it was.
Because it's at like the 30-yard line or 25-yard line.
Regardless, you're an unbelievable, like...
They might not bring Mahomes back in the game after that, given his ankles injury.
Yeah, potentially.
So, Man, it's funny how nobody talks about that
You're
play
right.
enough because we're still kind of like, that was cool. Great run. They're going to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And they did for a half a year until it was 8-3 on a Monday night against Cincinnati.
No, you're right. I remember that day, the Monday well, because we had so many comments about the Agnew thing. And like that the play you're talking about was not top of mind, like, to anybody. And listen, I know it's like, it's hard to say like that would have been an interception on any play because like you got to catch it. Obviously, you did not. But like the Agnew play, the ball's in your hands, obviously. But I just remember like all the stuff we talked about, and that play just never.
Yeah.
Even right after it happened, like it was like, oh, should have had it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we're on to the next thing. Like control what you can control, and it's just.
Yeah, I got to go back. I haven't even watched it a lot. Like even myself, like we don't bring it up, but I think it's in my mind one of the plays that, like I said, just doesn't get talked about a lot. That they win that game and go to the AFC Championship game if that play gets made. And there are probably multi plays in that game because that was a 90-yard drive, but that's definitely one of them. One other note here. Let's see, what do we got? Oh, how do we feel about Nick Mullins going 2-2? Hamby's Burner says, and not great. I mean, I'm not telling you I feel great about it.
I mean,
heck, I don't even know at this time if I feel good about Trevor Lawrence going 2-2 out of the gates. I just don't know. I just don't know that way about the Jags. Like, there's so many unknown about the Jags. So it's like, now you tell me if the Jags are 6-4, and then you got to bring him in for Mullins. I can't sit there and say.
I think he could go 1.
I feel good about Mullins going 2-2. I'd be lying if I said.
I think he could go 1-3. I think he could win 1.
Yeah,
he's not the worst
but that's not. That might not be good enough at that time.
I get it, but like, there's been times here, Jake Luton and others, that they have no chance to win a game if the starting quarterback were to come out.
Yeah,
I think they could win with
I
Nick
think
Mullins,
so.
but also I think that goes back to how Cohen wants to do things differently. If you can run the ball, maybe you can go 2-2.
Yeah, maybe
with Nick Mullins.
Yeah, I don't think it's impossible to go 2-2 with Mullins. By the way, I don't get this like, oh yeah, the Jags have one of the best backups in the league.
No,
I don't feel that way.
But he has played a little bit. You wouldn't be sending a rookie out there.
Yeah,
in theory,
he's been around.
Unless they send out Guy from yesterday. Nathan. What was his name?
Yeah, Hennigan, I think.
Hennigan. Yeah. Unless we're sending Memphis.
Memphis guy. All right, let's do this. Take a break. Come back. I've got trivia for you on the 2014 QB class. I don't know if you've got trivia for us, but Austin.
I do. If Austin ever shows back up,
he might show back up before the end of the show. We'll keep rocking and rolling here on a Monday. The Brent Austen Show, the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Jags rookies. And the rookie minicamp in the books. Now, again, the next phase, OTAs will be next Monday. That's really the next highlight. And we'll have our cameras out at that one as well. So each and every week will be kind of fun. Tuten receiving the ball.
Who's 17? They gave away DJ Chark's number? How disrespectful.
Did nobody wear that last year?
I don't know. I just saw it and I was like, DJ Chark.
Somebody had to wear it last year. I feel like 17's been running around.
No, maybe.
Be good. That's a good trivia question, too.
Who wore 17? Someone get it in the chat.
Yeah, we'll be back.
There's a saying in sports, you can't win them all, but you can win a lot with good folks on your team. Like that one painter, First Coast. It's tough to beat the sun in Florida, so your home fades. It's tough to beat that HOA when they come calling. Beat the sun, beat the HOA with that one painter, First Coast. And it's a good time to do it. Less rain to work around, and painting in mild temperatures is perfect. After all, the paint bonds to the surface so much better. Give that one painter First Coast a call at 904-417-3557 or look them up at first-coast.thatonepainter.com. Fast estimate, guidance on color and HOA requirements, and the highest quality job you'll find anywhere. Be a big winner in your neighborhood with that one painter First Coast on your team.
People helping people. It's at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From the start in 1954 to today, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. I had a chance to see that commitment firsthand as Alive partnered with our Action Sports Jacks 24/7 team to bring you Armada men's and women's soccer broadcasts. Inside the 18, it is a shot, and it's a goal! Chloe Chivers! And that connection to the community continues with Alive Credit Union's support of the Police Athletic League of Jacksonville. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of all first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
It's fast-paced.
Hands off on first down, and there goes Edward Vander.
High fly.
Wide open receiver. It's caught.
Action-packed. Weekend fun. Fun for the entire family. It's the Jacksonville Sharks.
I feel like anybody could play in this league. It's gotta be like backyard football, right?
Whoa! This ain't the Arena League, Brent. This is the indoor league, and they play defense here.
It's a lot safer to just watch the professionals play. And watching is a lot of fun. A party in the stands at the arena for kids and adults. And it's indoors. Get out of the heat for the summer and watch the Sharks shine inside. Jacksonville Sharks football, season number 15. It's the drive for 5, and it's still alive. Get your tickets at jacksharks.com.
Are you about to graduate high school and haven't decided on what you want to do when you get done? Well, one option is to apply to become a student in the Electrical Training Alliance of Jacksonville. Their program offers structured classroom and online training along with on-the-job training so that you can earn while you learn. Still not convinced? The folks at ETA Jacks are a tuition-free 4-year apprenticeship program. There is no tuition and no student debt. Just pay for your books and your fees. That's it. Now, speaking of pay, students, they start off making $40,000 per year, including benefits, and they graduate, get this, making over $80,000 per year, including those sought-after benefits. Now, that sounds pretty good to me, and if that sounds good to you, it should check off a lot of boxes. So head on over to etajacks.org and apply by May 15th. Again, the website right here, etajacks.org. Don't wait, apply today.
Grab some friends and go to a restaurant or head out for a drink and some conversation. Watch your favorite team play on the big screen. Or how about play some games? You can do all of that in one night at Best Bet. Each location has a different vibe, its own personality, like here at the original Best Bet in Orange Park. When you walk through these doors, everybody knows your name. And here in St. Augustine, it's the newest location. Play some poker. How about the table games? And don't forget about Ace's Sports Bar and Grill. And then there's the Jacksonville location right here on Monument Road. It's the biggest poker room in the state of Florida. Maybe you'll find yourself a seat right here at the final table. Best Bet, where you can have the best of times. And that makes you always go home a winner. Try any of the 3 locations, and you can always visit bestbetjacks.com.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
Well, this thing's gone viral. It's funny, I saw it. Somebody had shared it, but then I was like, wow, it's amazing how much the NFL, the aggregators catch it. And what is Dove or whoever, those kind of guys, they grab this thing and run with it. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden it was very nice. It was kind of cool. I think these are cool moments. They're innocent moments. Like the lady has no idea who Travis Hunter is, right? Yeah. And now there's another story I can tell you. We have a producer. Before this story came out Saturday, we were talking in the newsroom after camp, and there's a producer we have, and she was telling me a story that her relatives were flying, I think, from California.
Are you sure this was a producer?
It was a producer.
Okay. Because I heard this story too, but not from a producer in the building.
Oh, she showed me the phone.
Oh.
So, but she was flying from California, had a connection in Denver, got on the Travis Hunter. So Travis Hunter was there, probably right around this time, right, with this lady.
Yeah.
And she showed me a picture of Travis Hunter took the little baby they had and was took a picture with him, like was holding the baby.
There you go.
So I was like, hey, you guys might want to push that out there. It's going to go viral as well.
Oh, definitely.
So I don't know if maybe it's on actionnewsjacks.com or just go to actionsportsjacks.com.
Go there instead.
Oh, Evan Ingram at 17. Oh, sorry, Evan. My goodness, that was awful.
We barely knew you.
That was terrible.
It's not like you'd contributed.
That's brutal. How do we not come up with that? Gosh.
The best part about that,
there's some days you can just kind of pass along, like, yeah, whatever. I don't know.
The best part about that,
we should have number 17 as Evan Ingram. All right, two of us.
Is like when I said that, Coach Ripley was probably like, "This idiot."
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean, DJ?
Well,
Shark?
which one is he talking about? You asked the question, I couldn't answer it.
Me. The first thing I thought of was 17 was DJ Chark. Coach Ripley's like, we had Evan Ingram for
I actually thought of, and I was going to, you mentioned Ben, and I actually thought of him. Because he had that one moment against the Chicago Bears, remember? Where he caught that.
Aurelius Ben.
Yeah. And I think he still lives in Jacksonville.
I need bro.
You do? I think he owns, I'm pretty sure Aurelius Ben owns a coffee shop in Jacksonville.
Yeah, we've talked about this.
Right?
I have the photo of them. Do you remember in London when they did like the locking arms thing?
Oh, yeah.
Ago. I've got everybody on it, but Aurelius Ben. I have shot on it.
You got shot?
Yeah, I just need Aurelius Ben.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yep. Mercedes is on there. Marone's on there. Who else is in the picture? Telvin Smith is on there.
You got Telvin.
Yeah.
Boy, that's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one to have. Like, what would that go for, do you think?
Not as much as you think. It's still the Jags.
But I would think somebody in Jacksonville would, because that was a big time, right?
Yeah.
From the picture to me is interesting, there's a lot of uniqueness to the picture because of the stories of the time. So and by the way, it was controversial time in the NFL.
Yeah.
Very controversial.
And
so
didn't they beat the heck out of whoever they played in that game?
Was that in Indianapolis one? They crushed Indianapolis one year. Pretty sure.
So.
Oh, Baltimore.
Baltimore.
No, that was Baltimore.
It was Baltimore. Yeah.
So that was 17?
Yeah, I think so. No.
Was the national anthem stuff in 17? It goes all the way back to that? Because it could have been, though, Kaepernick.
I thought it was, regardless. Yeah.
Has it been that long since it might be?
I mean, it feels about right.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, they weren't over.
Cool pick. That's a cool one to have.
Yeah.
Like, I think that would go from a Jags fan perspective. Probably more than you think.
Yeah.
Not from a national perspective, but from a Jags fan perspective. Because, again, there's a lot dialed into that photo.
Definitely. I remember.
And even having Shad do that, because Shad's never on the field.
It's hard to get shot.
Right?
Yeah.
And Beckett.
No, this is actually funny. I'll tell you this one. So it was one of the draft parties. Maybe Josh Allen? Nah. It was at Daly's. It was the draft party that they brought Cody Rhodes out on the stage. Do you remember this? It was right around when they announced AEW.
I don't remember it.
Okay. So anyway, Cody Rhodes was there too. So I was down there where like they walk off, or they could walk off to the left.
Okay.
And I come down the stairs because Amanda was sitting up in the thing, and I come down the stairs and Shad comes around the corner by himself. Nobody with him. I was like, oh crap. And I had Cody Rhodes Funkos out. I threw them because I had the photo because I thought I'd see Shad. Flipped it. I asked him, and he was kind of like, and he did it like quickly, but like it was so odd because he just walked through the crowd, no one around him, no security.
Yeah, that's very unusual.
Yeah, and nobody really like was like, oh, Shad, you know what I mean? Like there was people around.
There's just a lot going on.
There's just a lot going on,
and he did it.
Yeah,
and the only guy you don't have there is Aurelius Ben.
Aurelius Ben, bro,
dude, that should be pretty easy to get.
You would think. I had to grind on that photo too because like Mercedes was not the easiest.
I bet.
And I remember when I got it done. I don't remember the circumstances. And Marone, did you know Marone collects stuff like that? Not he's like
I did know
stuff.
that.
Yeah, so,
I did know he's a collector because again we've actually been over his house for like he had like some pre-season kind of like cookout thing one time.
Ah.
But he also has been on the show, I want to say, or on TV or whatever from his office. Because, again, I think during pandemic time, specifically in 2020, he would do some things from there, and you can see he would actually like tell us like he's got like a Mickey Mantle bat or something right behind him and all that stuff.
At the time I needed him on that, and then I had they put out in 17 because that's when whenever the Star Wars movie came out, they put like a mock Jag Star Wars poster up, and it had like Malik Jackson, Calais, Jalen, who's still not on there, and Marone was like the center of it. So anyway, I needed Marone on that, and I needed Marone on the other one, and it had a bunch of the guys on it. So when I got him, eventually, he like talked to me for 20 minutes about that stuff. He told me about the Mickey Mantle. Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
He thought it was cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I need to really spend on that
collector.
one. And I need Jalen on the other
someday I'm going to do this story. Like, I think Marone might be one of the most interesting, complex characters of the Jacksonville Jaguars story.
Interesting.
I don't know if I'm right on that, but I do think he's on the list. Let's just say that. I don't know if he's on the top of the list. I just think he's on the list. It might not come out to my Saxonville. Maybe that's part of the Saxonville documentary.
It's a spinoff, if you will.
A little spinoff of it. Or at least a story within the story, right, of the documentary.
Yeah, I'll give you interesting character. I'll give you that.
Yeah, because I think he's viewed differently.
Yeah.
From different people.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Which makes you kind of, I think, almost a complex character, if you will.
I feel like there's a lot of...
Calais, there's nothing complex about. I mean, everybody loves him.
Universally
right?
loved.
So...
I feel like there's a lot of complex characters by that description in your Saxonville documentary then.
Yeah, there are, for various reasons.
Definitely.
Right. The Derek Carr retirement, were you surprised?
Only because I wasn't really following the injury situation because, like, you know, he didn't win MVP that one time that I put all that money on it. So then he was dead to me at that point. So, like, I didn't really know what the severity of the injury was or anything like that. So, like, when I saw it, I was like, oh, I thought he was going to be able to play, but apparently that was not the case. But good career, good run, nice dude.
Seems like a really good dude. And had some tough situations to deal with in the NFL to navigate some of that.
Yeah, definitely.
Had a little bit of Bortles in him at times. Whereas like other people or sometimes players on his own. Bortles never had the players on his own team as much, but other peers around the league would kind of hammer him. And Derek had a little bit of that. Like where they were just, it was like no holds barred on him sometimes from teammates. What was the big run in he had that somebody recently said, and he kind of handled it very well on the podium?
Michael Thomas.
Michael Thomas? Was that the one that said something about him?
I believe so.
Okay. So anyway, like that's just one. But I think there were a couple of instances like that in his career because he's a guy that was like, man, never.
Yeah.
He fits a lot of quarterbacks where it's like, okay, like you just said, go 2-2, but go get 12 wins. Probably not.
Yeah. Listen, he was really good. Couple of years on the Raiders, there's no doubt. He's I'd be interested to see what he does now because he's a very religious guy.
Yes.
But he's always been a great speaker.
Yep.
So, like, I don't know what he's going to do, and maybe nothing. Maybe he just retires and spends time with his family. But, like, if he was, like, a public speaker, I'd be like, yeah. Like, I would probably go watch that guy talk. I don't even know what about.
Okay, give me, so here you go. I'm going to quiz you.
Okay.
That 2014 class.
Oh, boy.
Is now all out of the league except for one.
Okay.
I think he's still in the league.
I like where this is going.
Yeah. Do you know who it is?
That's still in the league?
His name has already been mentioned on the show today.
When I was here?
Yep. When talking about quarterback rooms.
Gabbert. No.
Nope.
But I'm in the right area, right?
Well, yeah, because with a G.
Garoppolo.
Yeah. So Jimmy G.
Yeah.
Do you know where he would rank on the earnings list?
Has to be high. He got paid by San Francisco.
Well, Derek Carr's number one on the earnings list.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
$205 million. Garoppolo's second, $154 million.
Sounds about right.
You know who else was like drafted? You want me to give you the draft guys? So it's probably easier.
No, like Bortles, right?
So Bortles.
Yep.
You remember who else was drafted? I mean, you were young at that time.
No, okay, yeah, I need more than. But
Yeah.
is Bortles has to be third, right?
He's not third. He's fourth. There's one other guy in front of him.
Give me some names.
All right, so Manziel.
Definitely not in front of Bortles.
No, but he was picked 22nd. Teddy Bridgewater, pick number 32. He's the one you want to say is in front of him. He's made $64 million in his career.
Really?
Bortles made $47 million in his career.
That's it? That's a great number. But
that's about right. I mean, the rookies' deals were not as big as they were back now. Like now, a rookie deal's worth $37 million guaranteed. I think it was like 18 or something back
Teddy
then.
Bridgewater has made $60 million?
64.
How? Who paid him?
Derek Carr got picked 36th, and I don't know. Well, this will be a second part of this in a minute, but $205 million. Jimmy G, $154 million. Tom Savage, $3 million. Aaron Murray, $1.2 million. AJ McCarron, $16 million. Is he still in the league?
$16 million?
Actually,
No.
he's on a backup in the league.
No,
he's doing some announcing stuff probably.
No, he was in UFL recently.
Oh, was he? Play?
XFL, yeah.
Oh, really?
Does that count in this?
No, I don't think so. No.
How did AJ
Well, it'd
McCarron
be
make
like 100,000 if
$16
it counted. Yeah, I don't know. Zach Mettenberger, $1.7 million. So those were the quarterbacks that Spotrac listed here. Now, the thing that I haven't done, and I think Derek Carr had one playoff win.
Does that feel right?
Because
they won that game that they
No,
were
he did not, however, win a single playoff game.
Yeah, because
he only played in one.
I think the game you're thinking is the game that they were going to tie the Chargers. Do you remember that mess to go to the playoffs?
Yes.
That wasn't actually a playoff game. That was the last game of the season. And they needed, like, they're playing, it felt like they were playing to tie, and then they ended up kicking the field goal to win. But the year he was really good, when they went to the playoffs, I think, was the year he got majorly hurt right before the playoffs, right?
I think you're right.
Yeah.
So now you want to go, you say money from 2014, and then you go into performance. And I don't think Tom Savage, Aaron Murray, AJ McCarron, Mettenberger, Manziel factor in at all here.
They do not.
Right? So then it leaves Bortles, Bridgewater, Carr, and Garoppolo. Well, Carr, 0 for 1. Bridgewater, 0 for 2.
Okay.
In playoffs.
With who? What am I missing with Bridgewater?
I think Minnesota, probably. Yeah, before the big injury. And then Jimmy G, 5-2.
Yeah, Jimmy G's won some playoff games.
I
think he's 2-0 against Aaron Rodgers.
Is he really?
I think. Definitely 1-0.
Then Blake Bortles, what would he be, 2-1? Right, it was only the 1 year.
Yeah.
2-2.
Huh? 2-2.
No, that's got not sound right. Yeah, sorry. AI is wrong. So why does the AI thing pop up first when you go Google?
Because it's trying to help.
It's not.
Yeah,
2-1, like we said.
2-2 don't seem right.
I mean, he went to LA, but he never played like any of that stuff.
No.
So 2-1.
Yeah.
So he has the fourth most amount of money that made, second most playoff wins from that class. And I continue and will go to my grave saying, how the hell did he not get more opportunities to back up people in the NFL? Like all these guys, AJ McCarron backed up, whatever. Teddy Bridgewater just won a high school state championship and came back to back up.
It's a great story.
After being out. And Bortles, like at 29 years old, was done.
Yeah.
It just never makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Never makes sense.
I give you that.
I'll never fully. I got to dig deeper into it, but it'll never make sense. Like he probably could have made another $20 million backing up. He probably could still be a backup right now.
Yeah, I mean, be 11 years in.
How old is he? 33.
He could be a backup.
I say 29. He might have been done. Like when was his last year? He was 27. A 27-year-old quarterback that had 2 playoff wins. Now, by the way, his record overall wasn't great, 24-49, but most backups' record look like that.
And Jags. I mean, you can point to Jags.
Threw for 17,000 yards, 100 touchdowns. Okay, yeah, he did throw a lot of picks, 75 of them. But Jameis is still playing.
Could he go 2-2?
He could go 2-2 and probably throw 5 touchdowns and 5 picks.
That's all you need. You get the people standing up. You make people feel something. To go back to wrestling, because you brought it up a second ago. If the people are feeling something, if they're reacting some type of way, it's good for wrestling. It might be good for football.
I will just never get it. I'll never get it. Like that line of quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Like I get Garoppolo had some nice with the whole San Francisco thing.
Garoppolo was borderline good at times.
He was, especially in that run, right? Would have been more recent, 3-4 years ago run.
Yes.
But overall, like, he really has been just a guy. Now, a lot of these guys are just guys.
Sure. Yeah.
Derek Carr's been a guy.
Yeah.
That gave you good some, not so great some.
Yep.
And I don't understand why at 27 years old he was out of the league. I think he could still be a backup right now, no different than Nick Mullins.
Yeah, I would agree.
And not that he needs the money.
Was part of that he didn't want to? Or
I don't think so, because I remember having him on when we had him on the show, and he was just like, "Yeah, I don't get it either." Like that's kind of was his response. And his view when we had him on that time, and I asked him about it, was kind of like, I feel like they want you to throw the football a certain way, like Blaine Gabbert throws the football. Mm-hmm. But Blaine Gabbert, like playing the sport in a game, was not as good as Blake Bortles.
Agreed.
Yet he's still a backup, isn't he?
Yes. He was just with, probably to the right. He was with the Chiefs not long ago.
Yeah, and he might still be.
Because didn't he replace Henne as
he did.
The Chiefs backup?
He did.
Nice.
Kansas City last year. Actually, that was 23. So he wasn't with anybody last year.
No Tampa? When was he with Tampa?
Yeah, that was previous.
Before? Okay.
So he went, Jax got traded to San Fran, goes to Arizona. I remember that. Tennessee, remember that, because I think he played against the Jags in 18. Tampa for 3 years, and then Kansas City.
Okay, yeah.
So again, you're talking about it. By the way, his QB record 14-35, touchdowns 51, picks 50. 34 years old, still getting a paycheck as of 2 years ago.
Gotta love it.
Because he throws a beautiful ball in practice?
He's been through it. I mean, yeah, maybe.
But that was kind of the answer that I got from Blake, if I remember correctly. I'll have to go back and listen to it. But I think that was the answer I got from him, was that, I just don't think they like the way I throw. You want that as a practice player to be able to, for your receivers and everything else. I feel like that's what he said to us at that time.
That was a good interview. I have a clip of that interview on my reel.
Oh, do you?
Yeah,
that was a fun interview.
I've gotten no job, so maybe I should take it off. But I thought it was a good question that I asked.
Listen, I'm a big Blake fan, but you don't have to be a big Blake fan to wonder, at 27 years old, why was he out? He had 2 playoff wins.
Well, yes. One was
not a great game. Okay, but he actually didn't play that poorly, I think, in the AFC Championship game either.
No, I don't think he did.
So, he didn't play great in the Buffalo game.
He did not.
That first half was rough.
It was not good.
But he played awesome in December.
Yes, he did.
And he played really well in the Pittsburgh game, as I remember it. And I think okay in the AFC Championship game. Did enough to put them in a position to win.
They were in position to
win, right?
Yeah.
So, and I don't think automatically just because you make a little run makes you hey, you should go get a 10-year deal in the NFL. But most people that are, I know why Johnny Manziel's not a backup. I get it.
Yeah.
Most anybody else, though, Zach Wilson's going to be a backup for the next 10 years.
Yes. Yeah. For sure. Good gig. Great gig.
Don't get it.
Zach Wilson, by the way, might be able to go 2-2. Maybe.
Yeah.
Miami, right?
I'm always intrigued by those guys that have talent.
Yeah.
Right? And even Gabbert. Gabbert really never got the Minshew chance.
No.
Right? Where he could, I would have been interested to see Gabbert at 30 years old or 29 years old, after sitting behind these guys for as long as he did, about being in the San Fran offense to being in with Andy Reid. And actually, Andy Reid was later, so that wouldn't have counted. But I would have been very interested to see him get the reins for 8 games and see what he could do. Because he was, I think, with Arians, right, in Arizona, then Tampa. So, and he was behind Brady.
True.
So, he's been, by the way, behind Brady and behind Mahomes.
Wow. There's a book.
Yeah, nice little book. And I would have been fascinated to see if after that time, after learning the game after not having the lack of confidence that he had playing here too early, all that, because he's a gifted player, obviously, could he have done okay? And I think that way a little bit with Zach Wilson. When he matures as a human being, when he matures as an NFL player, will he be able to navigate a season?
Yeah.
And maybe even have a little bit of a research. How about Geno Smith? Will he be able to Geno Smith it?
Oh, I think Zach Wilson, if he gets in for the Dolphins, might win some games. Like, he's not on the field, he has not been great. I don't think he's like a bad football player. Like, it's looked that way, but like, I think in the right situation, like, I think Zach Wilson could win you some games.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I'm saying.
I said that when he was on the Jets, though, too. So, like,
yeah,
maybe I'm
I
just
get
an
it.
idiot.
I get it. But I think time heals some of that, or maybe you just never get to that. I don't know.
Maybe. But I think he'll get a shot, and you say that about every backup in Miami, but it feels like he will get to play some.
I think there are some guys, like, let's take a Josh Rosen, where he goes, in the top 10 or something like that? He went top 10?
10 or 11.
And obviously they give up on him like that. And then he goes to basically they give up on him really early. Like, that's an interesting one, actually. Rosen never a backup, or not a long backup, right?
No, like he
was out of the league pretty early.
He was like practice squad guy because he went to like Miami and somewhere else. Was it Tampa? No. Somewhere.
He did go to Miami.
He definitely went to Miami.
And he might have gone to Tampa too, you're right.
But there was one of those, he was like...
Went to Atlanta.
He was like fourth string, nowhere close to the field. Like, practice squad. How does that happen?
Guy played in 24 games as the top 10 pick.
You know,
in his career.
What's crazy about that is that I would have, if you would have said 20 or under, I would have went that.
20 or under, yeah.
It feels like there's no way he played 24 games.
Well, he had the one season, and then in Miami, he actually started 3 games, played in 6.
Okay.
So you would have been right about starts, 16.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, and again, you're talking about getting in games. That could mean like a kneel down at the end of games, so it's not really playing.
Sure, yeah.
He actually, after... Yeah, like he played in 4 games in Atlanta in 2021, but he threw the ball 11 times total.
Mm-hmm.
So you're probably more right on the 16. 16 is probably the better answer here. But, like, why is that? Why can't he be a backup?
See, that to me feels like...
But he was kind of an odd guy, I think a lot of folks would say, coming out.
That to me feels like you just... Like, who? I don't know the story there about who evaluated him and, like, the scouting process and whatnot. That feels one that, like, he just... couldn't play, because that's where I go to what you're saying now. Like, if you're a first round pick, and it does go back to portals, but like, it feels like you would have every opportunity to be somebody's backup.
Yeah.
So that to me just says like he couldn't do it.
Well, I think there's 2 things. I think you might be right, but I also think when you hear stories of, hey, it's a little odd, like, can he do the leadership stuff that is required to be? Did they find out right? Did they not vet that enough? Right. And they found out pretty soon, like, he can't be your CEO.
Mm-hmm.
Now, could you still be a backup if you can't be a CEO? I don't know.
True.
That part I don't know. But is there something more to it?
Because I don't think he was ever good. Like I don't ever, and I didn't watch every Arizona Cardinals game. I'm not going to pretend like I did. I don't remember there ever being like we got some here.
Yeah, I don't.
Not after game 1, not after training camp. I don't remember that ever being the story.
But to be drafted in the top 10, like, you could be able to throw the football.
Yeah.
Which kind of goes back to my Bortles thing. It's like, the Bortles thing is he wasn't a natural thrower of the football thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, Rosen, I don't think that was it. Like, he could throw the football. So why wouldn't you keep him around? There's another thing here. There's an unspoken, I think, about what you want in a backup quarterback, and I don't really know what the delineation would be, but are you, when I say smart enough, do you know that offense in and out, right? Like, I don't know how people process offenses, how they could teach it to the next guy, help the next guy as a backup quarterback. So is there an element there, and nobody ever wants to say that about people or quarterbacks, right? So was that a little bit on the Bortles side of thing, or is that a little bit on the Rosen side of thing, or is that part of it? It's like, well, it doesn't pick up the offense, like, doesn't know it like the back of his hand, whereas a guy like Henne maybe really knows it. I mean, I could sit here and argue that Bortles, like, I'd rather watch Bortles play quarterback than Henne.
Yeah. But Yeah.
Yeah, like Coach Ripley said, process the playbook, retention of terms, motion checks, where you can get limited reps, still have success in the mental, physical. But I'm not talking about just when you jump in and play. I'm talking about you also have to be the guy that guides the young quarterback along or educates that young quarterback and brings it. Are you the best teacher, right? There are a lot of people that can really play the game or can play the games, but they can't teach it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think it's a little fool's gold to assume that if you're good at baseball, softball, basketball, whatever else, you can definitely just come back and coach it.
Right.
Well, you become a bit of a coach in that backup role. So is that like the thing that nobody really knows how to articulate?
Yeah.
That a guy's not good enough at because it's not a tangible thing to really grab onto? And maybe that's why you don't get those opportunities as a backup quarterback for some of these guys.
And that might also go back to what we talked about a while ago now. Like, I feel like at times it's hard to train somebody else to do your job. Was Josh Rosen or even potentially Blake a guy that they established was like, this guy's not really going to hammer home to our younger players how to do this?
Yeah,
You know
that
what
might
I mean?
be. That might be. Whereas you take a guy like Minshew, one of the feathers in the cap of Minshew coming into the league was that he had been at a bunch of different offenses, could learn them quick and process them quick, and knew what to do, which then could make him a backup quarterback for years and years to come, as long as he's cool with accepting the role.
Yeah. Could be.
Yeah.
And everyone's just maybe not I don't want to say a genius, and I don't mean to call anybody stupid, but like, I couldn't teach anybody anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, probably more than you think you could. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Like I would say this. I think Minshew someday is going to go back to Brandon, Mississippi and be like the quarterback coach at his high school.
Yeah.
Or the offense coordinator, or maybe a head coach you look up if he wants to do it. I don't know if everybody you marry that to.
And maybe just like if Gabbert came in here and had to explain something to us, or Henny had to explain, maybe he's just like, maybe just the way you talk and articulate stuff and make people understand. Like, that might be a huge part of it. That like we're just like, it doesn't matter to us.
Yeah.
But to them, it's like the whole thing.
The whole thing. You need it. So I get it. I kind of get it. Let's take a timeout, and I think you've got a little more weekend trivia, at least for me.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe Kim, too.
Yeah, this is killer, the Austin thing. Like, I know he's got a whole life and whatnot. I don't know what you guys have,
he's training.
Cool. Like I know he's trying to like be successful UFC fighter, and that's cool. Like he's going to go train. That's great. Good. I'm good. Happy for him. All of my bits are like two people bits.
Yeah, true.
And some of them revolve around timing, which we do not have when you're not here. So like,
it's
kind of cooked.
It's going to be an interesting 6 weeks or so. We'll make it work, though.
I couldn't.
Hey, Rip, you had it all into the polite and respectful part of things. I mean, Casey on the polite and respectful side, that could get dangerous.
I've been known.
Maybe for the autograph-seeking part.
I've been known to say some incorrect things at times.
Even have you gotten into it when you're with some people that denied you autographs?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a reputation out there.
I've been
to
known.
some.
There's some people that would say that I'm, not the best.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's some people that would be in my corner. Right, Brent?
Yeah, no doubt. Todd Golden.
I was hoping you were going to say, yeah, Casey, I'd be in your corner.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'll take Todd Golden. That's my guy.
You're on the show. I mean, that's all. That's without saying.
I'd take a bullet for Todd Golden. Not sure about Brent, but I would for Todd Golden. There is no doubt.
We'll be back.
When it's time to get a new car for anyone in your family, just remember, nobody but Nimnick, the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Get the latest price breaks on 2023 and 2024 models, or the newest 2025 vehicles in the showroom on Phillips Highway, or shop online at nimnickbuickgmc.com 24 hours a day. GMC Sierras, Yukons, and the redesigned Acadias, or get the all-new redesigned line with Buicks. It's nobody but Nimnick, and part of the reason why is this is a first-class buying experience here at Nimnick Buick GMC. You're not just a customer, you're a friend. This is about getting a vehicle that best fits you and getting you on the road, and also helping you and your family down the road. Nimnick has a treating you right guarantee, courtesy, respect, fairness. The most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer, nobody but Nimnick. Who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? Nobody but Nimnick. GMC. We are professional grade.
If you look good, you feel good. And the medical professionals here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics are here to make you feel your best. I'm on camera every week, and I have a confession to make. I'm not always confident in my appearance. Can you see my dark circles? Is my makeup highlighting my fine lines instead of covering them up? I question it all. So when I found out about the wide variety of procedures here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics, I knew help was just one appointment away. Medical Director Dr. Megan Deacon Casey and her board-certified physicians have been using the latest in cutting-edge technology for the last 10 years, giving men and women their personal confidence boost. From Botox, fillers, Morpheus 8, and so much more. The hardest part was figuring out what I needed. Thankfully, the medical team walked me through what would work best for me through a free consultation. Come look and feel your best with the team here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics. Visit them at one of their 2 locations, either over in Ponte Vedra or on the south side.
I've been telling you about CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing for a long time now. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We've had a Connecticut water softener and drinking water system in our home for more than 7 years. You can see the difference whether you're washing clothes, the dishes, or what I like to do most, fill this up for some coffee every morning, and mostly all day. Remember, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. Right now, you can get a free Connecticut reverse osmosis system with the purchase of a Connecticut Premier Softener. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions so you can improve it. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Ask about our 90-day love it or leave it guarantee. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
Empower a future, inspire a dream. It's a bold but simple mission for the Jacksonville Police Athletic League known as Jax PAL. Help the next generation of kids in Jacksonville shape a brighter future. Their after-school programs, teenage leadership programs. There's community outreach.
This has been just an awesome opportunity to be out here with my colleagues and do something good for the community. It's really been an interesting opportunity to just see everybody work together in a way that we don't normally in the office.
And there's sports. There are also ways you can help the next generation with a donation of any kind. Just visit jaxpal.org to get more information. Empower a future, inspire a dream with Jax PAL.
Most of us know how to throw. But you need to know what to throw. I'm not talking about footballs, baseballs, softballs. We're talking about those items you need to recycle. Republic Services explains it easy. Recycling simplified. 1. Know what to throw. When in doubt, throw it out. 2. Empty, clean, and dry those materials. It takes an extra minute, but it makes a big difference. And 3. Don't bag it. This makes the recycling process faster and more efficient. This is a look at the Republic Services North Florida Recycling Center. You can make this process even more efficient. By utilizing those 3 steps, Republic Services can help you become a better recycler in your home. Learn more at recyclingsimplified.com.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Oh, yeah, we got a big one coming up on September 4th. That will be the season a little lifter. It's the Eagles and the Cowboys. They're all big in the NFL.
Ugh.
You don't like that one? What'd you want?
I don't see. That's exactly like where I'm at now. I don't know, to answer your question. I have no idea. But like, I'm just kind of turned off by it because it's the Cowboys. Like, don't we get the This is my problem. I figured it out. Now that I've had 2 seconds to think about it, I figured it out. Like, it's too much Cowboys. Like, it's 4:25 every week, and it's Sunday night a couple times, and it's Monday night, and eventually it'll be Thursday night. And I know this is a Thursday night, but like, I'm gonna be forced to watch the Cowboys multiple times just because the design of life. Like, did it have to be them here? A team that, by the way, like, I know they just got George Pickens, cool. do they have a ton of hype? Like, other than them being the Cowboys?
No, I mean,
Is this
I think
same old Cowboys mostly?
They certainly don't with a new coach, right? With Schottenheimer, I think Prescott being healthy, and then obviously now the Pickens thing adds to it. And they're always a drama. I mean, Micah Parsons, going in, right? You're going to have Parsons. And here's the deal. The ratings are so good for the NFL now, like, it doesn't matter. You could put the Jags on primetime every night, and they would still do well. But the ratings for, like, an Eagles in Dallas game do really well. Like, they actually do tick it up.
That's a huge rivalry, too.
Yeah, I mean, and you're going to have the Super Bowl champ on. So who would you rather have the Eagles against, I guess, if you take a look at their schedule? Like Washington, maybe? That would have been kind of good?
Yes.
That would have been fine. I think that would have been fine.
Washington, yes.
So I kind of get what you're saying.
This is controversial. Also, I would be interested in the Giants.
Yeah, but you're not sure about that game. Like, you want a game. So I think you'd have to be Washington or Dallas.
Probably.
I mean, the Giants right now look like they'll be pretty bad.
For sure, but I'm more interested in watching Jackson Dart play than I am the same old Cowboys.
Yeah, that's fair.
To be completely honest with you.
But I'm trying to think. Here's what I'm trying to think. And again, the NFL can't lose here.
No, they can't.
But who would you get excited about? Like, I'm not excited about seeing the Chiefs play anymore either in primetime. Just not. Like, I'm kind of over them. I do think, like, you give me I don't even know if they're probably not playing, like the Bills, Ravens, or somebody like that. I think I'd get excited about that.
Sure.
Like, that's a game that I could get locked into. I actually do think Washington's interesting. I think Jaden Daniels is pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
And if you pair them up with somebody, like maybe they're playing Baltimore, like that could be good. But you can't lose.
No.
I don't know how much the TV execs play the rating game in the NFL now, because my view of it is, like, usually what happens obviously the more people that watch, the more you can charge, right? From an advertising standpoint. But I wonder if it's capped out somewhere. Like, at some point when you have 28 million people watching, are you really charging that much more if 30 million people are watching?
Feels like no.
And I feel like probably not. So I don't think this is as much as a ratings grab as, like, you can just a rivalry thing.
Yeah.
And Coach Rip says the Lions. Lions could be pretty good. Could be pretty fascinating. I actually think, like, do you like the Super Bowl champ being on the opening night?
I don't mind it.
You do like it?
Yeah, usually, I mean, yes, because you're more times than not going to get a good game. But also, fantasy-wise, more times than not, you're going to have somebody from the former Super Bowl champ. So, like, you can either start your week great or it's just cooked. Because, like, this year in that game, for that being week one, like, people are going to have CeeDee Lamb and Pickens and Brown and Smith. And so I like it because you're going to see, one, good football, but two, there's always fantasy purposes.
Okay, so here's where I'm going with this.
Okay.
I understand why they do it. They give it a little bit of nod. Plus, you're going to have, like, a ring ceremony and everything else. Like, so it's a big night in Philly.
Yeah.
That game is in Philly, right? I'm assuming.
I think so.
Yeah. So it's a big night in Philly. So I get it. But wouldn't it be better from a storyline standpoint to take, I'm not going to try to shove the Jags into this, but I would say the Jets and the Bears. Because you have new coaches, Ben Johnson, who obviously people were really intrigued by.
Sure.
Could have been in all these different places. You've got the Detroit disciple going back to Jets with Aaron Glenn. You've got the Jets big market, Chicago big market. You've got Caleb Williams, second year star, all that. And Justin Fields, kind of the rebirth potential. Like, I feel like, as a viewer, I know who the Eagles are. Like, they're going to be in the mix.
Sure.
I think I know who the Cowboys are. They're going to probably disappoint in some way. Like, I would think, from a viewer standpoint, a storyline standpoint, there's so much unknown about Chicago and New York that I'd almost buy into that as the intrigue for the NFL to open the year with, forget about the Super Bowl champ, but instead which storyline's going to win the offseason? We just spent the offseason talking about these kind of storylines. Not really about the Eagles.
No.
Going back to back.
No, I hear you.
So, and again, listen, now you got Thursday night to do this and Sunday night to do this if you wanted to, and Monday night to do this. So maybe one of those games could be like that. But if I was the network, I'd almost I feel like I'd position myself that way. Again, Jags and Cleveland aren't a good example here, but you do have two big market teams.
Yeah.
That there's plenty of, wonder what this is going to be, and plenty of storylines that people have been talking about for months and months and months leading up that might actually give you a little bit more momentum. Again, it's a can't-miss problem for the NFL. There's no problem for the NFL.
There is not.
Everybody's going to be thirsting for it. They're going to be betting on it. They're going to be fantasy footballing it.
Yeah, they will.
So you're fine.
Yeah.
But I guess if we're getting in the weeds of it, I'd be more fascinated to watch Chicago and the Jets play and see how they look.
Yeah.
Because I know the Eagles are going to be good, and I kind of feel like I know Dallas probably pretty good. They're okay.
Yeah.
They're going to score. But
I'm good.
I like the unknown more than the known.
Yeah. Off that, what from your storyline point of view, do you think the Ben Johnson thing is the biggest off-season storyline thing? From that,
yeah.
I know Aaron Rodgers isn't on a team yet, but so there's that still out there. I'll give you the Pete Carroll.
Yeah, Pete Carroll's interesting
situation.
Problem is their team might not be any good.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
You're just not sure. But you got Genty and you got Carroll.
Where does the Liam Cohen Bucks debacle fit on that list?
I don't think the Bucks debacle fits high on the list on the national radar, but obviously the Travis Hunter part does.
Yeah.
So I think the front office, and that I would even say this about Ben Johnson. I don't think Ben Johnson being the head coach of the Jags would elevate it any more than Liam Cohen. I think actually I think because Ben Johnson's in Chicago, because it's a big market, you could say that it's a pretty big storyline. But I'm not really sure everybody around the NFL is clamoring for Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson. I can't wait to see how they're doing.
Sure.
From that degree, from a coach, probably a little bit more on Carroll. I'm not sure they're clamoring for that as well.
No.
But I think if you talk about a coach, you're talking about clamoring for Belichick at UNC more than anybody in the NFL.
That's a good call, actually.
Right?
It's really good. Yeah.
So
I just think it's kind of interesting that that if you're going for big storyline to open the season, you might be on to the one you were talking about, but for another example, the number 1 overall pick isn't even that big of a story.
Doesn't feel like
and they're terrible, but
yeah,
you would never get that as the opener. But my point is when you're trying to pick out stories, it's Cam Ward's 5th behind some other stories that aren't great, by the way.
It's a good question. I don't know what I think Travis Hunter's up there.
Yeah.
Travis Hunter is legitimate up there.
No, I don't disagree.
And so then you could you can make the case that Jacksonville is an interesting story. I get they're not the big market team, but they are up there as a very interesting story. They redid the whole thing. They've got guys coming back from injury like a Trevor, and they've got the Travis Hunter thing. There might not be too many people more interesting than the Jags. If this was Chicago, it would be all over the place. And it's going to be all over the place because it's the NFL. It's not a Jacksonville problem. I'm just saying prime time-wise, not in NFL Network-wise and ESPN-wise, they're probably not talking about much outside of Travis Hunter until they need to.
Yeah.
If the Jags start 5-1, they'll start talking about Trevor and Cohen and everybody else. But, it's a pretty fascinating spot. If you rank where the storylines are, Jacksonville would be in the top 5, I think.
No doubt. I agree with that fully. So we're talking Titans Jags on a Thursday night is what I'm hearing. I know you don't know that.
Yeah, I don't know that. And it's been a while since now that we got so tired of that. The league did too. I don't think you'll see that though because
really,
the reason why is because they don't just put any game on Thursday night anymore. Amazon's paying $1 billion and they want games.
Well, it's still number 1 versus number 2 pick. They always do that. They're not they're both not quarterbacks, but
I think you can get. Who the Jags playing?
This season, who are they playing?
Yeah, they're playing the Rams. They're playing the Raiders. They're playing Denver.
Kansas City.
They're playing the Jets. I think you could go Jags versus one of those teams, Kansas City, a bigger draw team, and then you'd go Tennessee against whoever they're playing on a big draw. You're not just going on a Thursday night rather than to what I would call smaller market teams, even Nashville.
Right? Hey, listen, I hear what you're saying, but if I'm Amazon and I'm paying $1 billion, like you just mentioned, I'm trying to have the guy that's maybe the most talked about guy in the league right now, and Travis Hunter, on my streaming service. And if they're playing when we know they're going to play Cam Ward in the number 1 overall pick twice, why not?
Yeah, fair enough. You got an option there.
Yeah.
I don't think the TV execs will go to that. Hey, May is Military Appreciation Month at Nimnik Buick GMC. Make sure you get on over there as the folks at Nimnik Buick GMC proudly salute the brave men and women who serve and have served our country. An additional $500 off select new Buick and GMCs. Every vehicle purchased at Nimnik supports Canines for Warriors as well in the month of May. So from everyone at Nimnik, thank you for your service and sacrifice. Nobody but Nimnik. Nimnik Buick GMC. Nimnik Buick GMC off Phillips Highway. Let's go down to South Florida. We're sweating. Got a good workout in. We're not sweating here. Either that or it's raining heavy like it did here. I don't know which one. How was the workout today?
I would say strong to quite strong, Brent. It was a heavy wrestling workout with an appetizer of 285-pound Brazilians trying to choke me. So it was a great day, man. Dude, it's like, because it's so cool, man, because, like, you know, like when you get back in the gym here, it's kind of like the first day of school again, right? So it's like you're a little hesitant and everything, and everyone asks, like, hey, how's the family doing? You know, how's everything going? All right, cool. Shake hands. All right, cool. Try to choke me out. And that's kind of what it was for the past 1 hour and 30 minutes. So just wrapped up with that. Going to go back in here after the show, get my like assault bike workout in. So just get a cardio workout in for 30 minutes. And then I'm going to be chilling till about 6 o'clock tonight. Then it's bag work and like I'm striking and working on my combos and everything. So a very good first session here, Brent.
All right. That is what I want to know is when you get in there this morning, you left the show at 10:35, whatever, and you go in. Like, do you know you're going to be wrestling with the 285-pound Brazilians, or is it a surprise?
Oh, no, man. It's, you know, it's like pick curtain number 1, curtain number 2, curtain number 3, you know, and I picked curtain number 2, bro, and it was the Brazilian curtain today because we had Junior Dos Santos, who's a former heavyweight champion. Who, you know, he's in his 40s, but don't let him fool you. Strong as hell. So we had him, and then we had this dude named Kyle, who's he's in the PFL. He actually he fought Francis Ngannou last, and he's 6'8", probably like 270 right now, and like a wizard on the ground. So yeah, I got some working with those guys today.
How about that? It's another day in the life of Austin Lane.
That's crazy.
We're just trying to find Blake Bortles a home so he can get a few more $1 million added to his total NFL income. That's what we've been doing for the last hour.
That's cool. I mean, I thought you guys were trying to figure out who the Jaguars were playing this year because, I mean, the schedule is out. You know, like they haven't announced when exactly it's going to be, but we know who they're playing, Brent.
We do know who they're playing. We're just trying to find them a primetime game or not. Well, what we basically said is they are, I know they're not the biggest market team, but they definitely are a top 5 storyline team of the NFL going into the year. And I don't think, again, local story, though, new brass, but Travis Hunter elevates them to a story that hits national attention as much as Ben Johnson, how he's going to do with Caleb Williams, or how the Cowboys are going to work in Pickens. You know, you name your favorite storylines. Jacksonville Jaguars, I think, are on the top 5. I don't think we're inflating that and homering up here.
Brent, I want to ask you this because, you know, we talked about this last week a little bit. Who has the better shot of getting more primetime games? Is it the Jaguars or the Browns?
I feel like the Jags. Yeah, I feel like the Jags. How about you, Casey?
Jags, for sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, I do think, listen, I know how our business works. We like a circus now. Like, there are plenty of storylines there in Cleveland. So, you know, and here's the other thing. What you would have to factor in is that AFC North is you can pencil the Browns against the Bengals, the Browns against the Ravens, the Browns against the Steelers, and any of them are good for prime time. That is not the case. That's what we're kind of saying. You go Indianapolis, you go Tennessee, you go Houston, Like, that's where the Jags...
Come on, Brent. Jags Titans Thursday Night Football as is tradition? A tradition like no other?
Yeah, I don't think so. All right, hey, what do we got? You got any trivia for us?
Yeah, I do.
All right, well, we got about 8 minutes before we got to get out of here.
Okay. Yeah, I guess we'll just go 1 for 1 here since the timing will be a little off. So it's not make it, take it, and we'll see what happens. I guess we'll start with Austin. Austin, this is stuff that happened this weekend, so good luck with that. Not sure what your weekend looked like.
Okay.
Which human scored the most points in the NBA playoffs this weekend?
This weekend? I mean, I want to go Hallie here, but I don't think. Give me Anthony Edwards.
Anthony Edwards is correct.
Wow.
How about that?
That was a good pull.
Yep.
How about that? 36 points.
That was the high this weekend.
Yep.
That's a little surprising, isn't it? Wouldn't you think it would be higher?
I mean, 36
Well,
is
I mean,
a
I
lot
don't
of
know.
points.
The Cavs put that up in the half, so I'm not really sure. There's a lot to go off of.
That is crazy, that
they
score.
Did get destroyed. All right, Brent, after this weekend, how many of the NHL playoff series are tied 2-2?
Ooh, good one. Vegas Knights came back, but that's a 2-1. I'm going to say one of them are tied.
It is one. Leafs Panthers tied 2-2. All the others are 2-1.
Come on, Leafs. Let's go. I need you.
How about that? I'm going to skip that one because Austin will know that. So, Austin, your question is, which of these was a higher number? The Padres run scored on Saturday. I don't know if you saw how many runs they scored on Saturday, but
I did not. Okay.
Okay. So was it that higher or the total number of goals scored this weekend in the Premier League? All the matches.
In the Premier League. All the matches?
All the matches versus the Padres on Saturday.
Go ahead and give me the Padres on Saturday.
Padres had 21 on Saturday.
I didn't see that. They scored 21, huh?
21
Well,
nothing.
they're good.
EPL scored 22 goals.
Wow.
Man.
How about that? All right, 1-1. Brent, how many titles changed hands this weekend at UFC 315?
Oh, boy. 2.
Just one.
Why belabor this? 2.
Just one. Just one. I figured
Casey,
Austin
that's
would
the golden rule, right? When you have 2 title matches on the card, one's going to change and one's going to retain. We always talk about this in betting, Casey.
And by the way, if we would have, I don't know if you were watching or I don't know what your situation was, but I wasn't.
I was watching it.
I wasn't ready, but the first one was the retain. So you could have put money on the underdog to win the other one, and he did indeed win.
So I was going to say which one was more likely? Did the switch of the belt or championship happen in the, would you have predicted that one or no?
I mean, from my point of view, between the two, that one was more likely, but it wasn't still that likely. I don't know.
They were both underdogs to probably win the belt.
Oh, yeah.
Or to switch, I mean.
Yes, definitely.
All right.
Definitely.
So 1-1 it is.
1-1 it is. Let's go Austin.
Okay.
Right? Austin, you familiar with Sepp Straka, known golfer?
I've heard the name, I think, or maybe that's strep throat, but I've heard like names around that.
Okay, I like that. You're close. So Sepp Straka, he won the Truist Championship this weekend on the PGA Tour.
Sure.
How much money did he walk away with for winning the Truist Championship?
Are we going to the nearest dollar here, Casey? Nearest $100? How are we doing this?
Closest point something, if you will, because it's obviously over $1 million.
Sure. All right. Oh yeah, of course, obviously, because I was going to say 200,000. Let me go ahead and get.
Okay,
it's definitely more than that.
1.7 presidential pictures.
Pretty good guess.
1.7 presidential pictures. Brent, I'll open it up to you.
Yeah, I think the purses are so much more now. So I'm going to, even to qualify. Now, there were 2 events this week on the PGA Tour as well. So I think Austin might be pretty close, but I'm going to go 2.25.
Yep, $3.6 million to win the Truist Championship. Bonus, Austin, where is Sepp Straka from?
Oh, dude, gotta give me that Poland, right?
Poland. You have a guess?
I want to say Germany, but I feel like it might be Austria.
It is Austria.
Dang it, man. That was my second guess, too. It was
Austria.
cold wherever it was.
Yes, it is.
I'll take your word for it. Austria was the answer there. Yeah, $3.6 million. That's pretty crazy. Brent, who scored the least amount of runs in Major League Baseball this weekend? 3 games. Counting Friday.
In 3 games combined?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know they're struggling to hit the ball, and Austin will like this. I'm going to go with the Reds.
The Reds. Austin, you got a guess?
I'm going to say the Detroit Tigers.
Both are wrong. You want another round?
Yeah, we'll get one more crack at it.
Try it again.
Well, the Rockies suck and are asking for tryouts this week for anybody that wants to play. So let's try the Rockies.
Rockies, you got something, Austin?
Let's go with the Cubs.
Washington Nationals, 3 runs against the Cardinals.
Cardinals playing good ball right now, right?
Yeah. They held them to 0, 1, and 2. Austin, Dallas Wings preseason action. I know you're a WNBA guy.
Let's go. Paige Beckers, let's bring it.
It is a Paige Beckers question. They played the Toyota Antelopes.
Mm-hmm.
No idea what's going on there. How many points did Paige Beckers have in this game?
Well, I know she's number 1 in our hearts, if that gets me a bonus point. But I'm going to say Paige Buckets drop 25.
25. Got a guess?
I'm going to go 17.
15. You both. Not
Damn.
Right. 15 points.
Against the Antelopes? Come on, they're porous at defense.
It appears that way because I don't know if
Is that like a Japanese team? Or?
Yeah, I don't know if I wrote this down wrong, but I might have because I wrote down they scored 199 total points. Can you check on that? Did they score 200? Did I write that right?
And Paige Beckers only had what? I'm sorry, 15?
She definitely only had 15. I remember that's definitely correct. Last one here. And this one, you guys will have some options here, but is this this is a Brent question technically to start. In the UFL this weekend, which former Chiefs Super Bowl champion scored a touchdown? Was it A, Sky Moore? Was it B, Cornell Powell? Or was it C, Justin Ross? One of those humans scored a touchdown.
I would say Cornell Powell.
Cornell Powell. Do you have a guess, Austin?
Wasn't Cornell Powell like the security, like the Secretary of Defense or something?
Yeah, that was
really.
It wasn't Cornell Powell, but you're kind of close. It was
Colin Powell, right, or something?
Colin Powell. Nah, I think Powell is right.
Okay,
Secretary
let's go ahead
of
and go with
Defense.
The third guess there, because I think Sky Moore is still trying to get in the NFL. So I'm going to go with the third guy you named, Casey.
Justin Ross.
That's
the
correct.
Third guy. So we had Sky Moore, who caught 0 passes in the NFL this year. He was indeed in the league. Justin Ross, also still in the league. It was Cornell Powell. How about that?
Oh, damn.
And by the way, it's Colin Powell. You're right.
Okay.
So there we
Missed it by that much.
Yep.
There you go.
Good work.
That's what I had.
All right, back at it tomorrow. Today, Austin. Go get that assault bike, and then assault the bag later, and have a good day down there in South Florida.
Will do, man. See you guys tomorrow.
All right, that is Austin Lane as he's in fight camp now, and I don't know who I took a shot at. Did I just take a shot at somebody?
I don't know.
I can't remember. Maybe it was a guess that I had?
Possibly.
I'm not sure. But, all right, Casey Kurtz.
Yep.
We'll see you tomorrow at some point.
Yeah.
We got Hamby in here.
Oh,
so
good.
if we have to play the game with Hamby or whatever, we can't.
The problem is Hamby's usually in on the games. Like, this is a mess.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
This is an absolute mess.
Oh, 17 points. Yes. Yes, I was close. Good. Thanks, Rip. Hey, Rip, you have a good day, too. Thanks for hanging with us here on a Monday. Kim's Corner, appreciate you. And tonight, by the way, just want to let you know, we've got the Young and Norvell show coming up at 4 o'clock. And we actually go to no gate fees right next for high school baseball and softball replay of last week's show on the Action Sports Shacks 24/7 network, actionsportshacks.com. We're trying something different tonight. The Clay County has its athletic awards show tonight. They do a big show, and it starts at 7. Well, Olivia Tassley and I are going to go do a red carpet type show and interview some of the athletes tonight at 6 o'clock. And then we'll carry the show as the plan tonight at 7 as well. So anybody out in Clay County, moms, dads, grandparents, coaches, everybody else, be a good time to jump in and watch simply on actionsportshacks.com or the Action News Jacks app right here on the Action Sports Shacks 24/7 network. Have a great day.
Are you about to graduate high school and haven't decided on what you want to do when you get done? Well, one option is to apply to become a student in the Electrical Training Alliance of Jacksonville. Their program offers structured classroom and online training along with on-the-job training so that you can earn while you learn. Still not convinced? The folks at ETA Jacks are a tuition-free 4-year apprenticeship program. There is no tuition and no student debt. Just pay for your books and your fees. That's it. Now, speaking of pay, Students, they start off making $40,000 per year, including benefits, and they graduate, get this, making over $80,000 per year, including those sought-after benefits. Now, that sounds pretty good to me, and if that sounds good to you, it should check off a lot of boxes. So head on over to etajax.org and apply by May 15th. Again, the website right here, etajax.org. Don't wait, apply today.
People helping people. It's at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From the start in 1954 to today, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. I had a chance to see that commitment firsthand as Alive partnered with our Action Sports Jacks 24/7 team to bring you Armada men's and women's soccer broadcasts. Inside the 18, it is a shot, and it's a goal! Chloe Chivers. And that connection to the community continues with Alive Credit Union's support of the Police Athletic League of Jacksonville. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of all first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
You trust CGC to make your water great, and now you can trust CGC with your plumbing needs as well. Fast, convenient scheduling, licensed and insured. A quick call away at 904-552-1242.
You never know when you're going to have an issue with a shower, toilet, or maybe it's a sink that sometimes is easy to fix. All right, let's be honest. I'm not fixing anything. I'm totally staging this because when I have a plumbing problem, I call CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing.
Trained professionals, transparent pricing, customer satisfaction. Small problem or even a bigger issue. Save 10% off any water heater, plus no trip charge. The experts with 25 years of experience at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing can do it all. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. For a limited time, CGC is waiving the trip charge on all related plumbing calls. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
For the game day hustle and every day in between, juggling my show Jag Social to going under the Friday night lights and a social life, it's a daily tournament. But this ride, MVP status. The all-new 2024 Lincoln Nautilus isn't just my car, it's my personal locker room, office on the go, and VIP lounge on wheels. Let's talk tech. My profile remembers everything from customizing my dash display to setting the ambient lighting and my signature scent. And wireless charging, essential for live tweeting scores. Whether I'm packing for a beach day with friends or heading to the gym, there's space for every passion. After dominating all day, this becomes my recovery zone. The massage feature is like having a personal PT on call. Life's a non-stop game, but with this ride, I'm always on my A game. The 2024 Lincoln Nautilus. Drive your passion.
Grab some friends and go to a restaurant or head out for a drink and some conversation. Watch your favorite team play on the big screen. Or how about play some games? You can do all of that in one night at Best Bet. Each location has a different vibe, its own personality, like here at the original Best Bet in Orange Park. When you walk through these doors, everybody knows your name. And here in St. Augustine, it's the newest location. Play some poker. How about the table games? And don't forget about Ace's Sports Bar and Grill. And then there's the Jacksonville location right here on Monument Road. It's the biggest poker room in the state of Florida. Maybe you'll find yourself a seat right here at the final table. Best Bet, where you can have the best of times. And that makes you always go home a winner.